Hey, what's happening, folks? This is Casey Jewett here.
Hello, I'm Brandon Watson.
I've been in the brewing industry for about 6 years now. I've worked for Megaton, Ingenious Brewing Company.
I've been in the craft industry for the last 3 years. I started at Back Pew and I've been with Megaton as the sales manager for the last year and a half.
I've been a sales rep for Deca Beer Co. for about a year now, and I also run their social media accounts.
I'm the creator of a local Houston-made drinking card game called F Your Liver. Welcome to the Beer Someone podcast.
Hey everybody, this is a Beer Someone podcast. This is Casey here. We got Brandon next to me, and we're sitting with Bobby Harl of Back Pew Brewing.
My turn.
We're very excited to get this podcast going today. We're going to talk about a bunch of fun stuff.
I'm really excited to be here. Yeah. We're here in Porter, Texas. It is Friday. What is it? August? I shouldn't have started that.
14th.
14th?
1300. It's the 15th. Taxes 15th? Are due today.
Oh, that's 15th. Yeah, it is right. That is 15th.
It's August 15th. Me and Casey don't know what day it is.
Very busy peeps.
I'm really excited to be here back at Back Pew. I'm wearing a Back Pew shirt today. I got to work at Back Pew for a little while, the first brewery I ever worked for, and it's the first hometown brewery that I got to go to because I'm from this area. I'm really excited, Bobby.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's good. You keep saying that. That's which is excellent.
Yeah,
it's always good to be excitable. It's a pleasant experience. But that is part of the cool thing about craft beer is that it was built on excitement. The whole craft beer movement was built on excitement. So keeping that and trying to figure out how to keep that for so long is one of the biggest challenges in our industry. So I'm glad that things like this exist that show people that they can still be excited about what we do, because what we do is really cool, both from a practical standpoint, which obviously I love the making of it, the drinking of it, the things of that nature, as well as the community aspect of it.
Absolutely, man.
100%.
We generally like to dive into a little bit of the origin story, so if you don't mind, just give us a little bit of back story on Back Pew.
Okay. So we formed, or we took over the space March of 2014. That's when we acquired. March of 2015. March of 2014 would have been impossible. March of 2015, we took over the space. When we were looking for a brewery, I'd grown up here. I grew up in the Spring Klein area. Went off to university, and then went off to other university, and decided to come back here to start the brewery. But we were originally looking in Edo. So at the time, Edo was pretty rad in terms of like what could you do there, and what you could do there, or at least what we thought would be really cool, is like an old manufacturing plant. They had a lot of really cool old manufacturing buildings. But in that 2014, 2015 timeframe, while we were looking, a lot of the larger real estate companies had gobbled them up. And they were looking for larger clients who could pay a lot more money than we had planned.
Right.
And so that quickly went out of our purview to look into that direction. Plus,
It's
a lot of them,
very different Back Pew.
well, they looked, the biggest problem was they were still full of asbestos. So it was a lot of abatement work. And so the amount of construction and everything else, that was not the business model which we had concocted. So,
right.
We had to move on from that. So we started looking, I kind of thought, okay, when we look at the city at large, you kind of look up Conroe, there were Southern Stars, so that's going up 45. Basically, if you go out every highway, there was really a brewery except up 59 in the Kingwood area.
Right.
And I was familiar with this area, being from Spring Klein. When we go to Livingston a lot, when I was younger, we cut across 1960 long before there were that many lights, and then head up 59. So certainly familiar with the area, but I didn't grow up here.
You're
so
not from there. Where are you from again?
I didn't know
Spring
that.
Klein.
I
So.
didn't know that.
I'm wearing the devil horns. Casey told me I had to wear devil horns because he looks like Jesus.
We're in a church.
I mean, it makes sense.
We're doing like a sinners and saints thing.
I think it's
today.
smart. I think it's smart. And at the time, we were the Saints and Sinners Brewing Company. That was my original idea for the name.
Okay.
And that came from just doing market research with how people buy beer. And for anybody at home who wonders what that means I creepily watch people buy beer and then ask them questions if they would answer me. And that's market research. It's a really weird situation. But I'm an engineer, so being awkward is just like my forte. So not really that big of a deal.
So I want to go further back. So we talked about you possibly being on Edo, but when did you first get interested in craft beer? When did you start making
First,
beer?
you got to start drinking it. I mean, that's how that's everybody's gateway, right? Like you start drinking beer, and
How old were you when you started drinking?
back in the early 2000s, there wasn't really craft beer. I mean, St. Arnold's was around, but really what you were getting, Guinness, things of that nature, German imports, that was really where you were going to get beer outside of your typical domestics, at least here in Houston. I mean, I'm not to say, I'm sure Oscar Blues was maybe around, but not in like a very large way. The Sierra Nevadas were probably around, but just not as prevalent, especially when you've got a limited access to whatever's going to be given to, or what you can get to. And so instead, you are looking at some of the larger brands. So like Hobgoblin was a really good English beer that you could get, and so things like that. And then you jump to uni, and in 2008, I'm an engineer, and I said this already that I'm a huge nerd, but we were doing a course where you model yeast growth with math. And I said, you know what else yeast do is they ferment beer. And about that time, everybody was turning 21 in that particular time in 2008. So actually, I was in San Antonio at Trinity University, and I scheduled a trip to Blue Star Brewing. It was a little brew pub in San Antonio. They were supposed to kind of meet us and talk to us about it, and the class was supposed to come, but only me and a buddy showed up, and nobody from there was there to talk to us about anything. So we had a beer and left. Big false start. However, I was interested in it, thought it'd be cool. Like, what is it really to brew? And at the time, if you went to Northern Brewer, they had like 2 options for kits. It was a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone that came with bottles, or it came with a keg. And so I called up my cousin who worked and lived here and worked here in Houston, worked for oil and gas. I was like, hey, you have expendable income, I presume. Have you ever thought about brewing beer? And he said, nope. I said, do you want to? He goes, well, now I do. So I sent him the link to the Northern Brewer and said, hey, get that with the bottles. Like, it'll be fine. We'll make it work. He called me back 5 minutes later. Said, hey, I talked to the guy. Bottling sounds awful. We're going to do the keg thing. Great. So he got a kit. It was an extract kit. Came with all the instructions. It even had a little DVD for a video to kind of show you how to do it.
Like the little plastic one.
It's not Mr. Beer. No, it was like a 5-gallon carboy style deal. But they tell you here's the extract. Put this in.
And you were in college when this was happening.
Yeah. It was my junior year of undergrad.
Were you in a dorm?
Well, I came back to Houston to do it.
Okay.
Like, I relied upon benefactors from that perspective to get the hobby started. So I went back to my cousin Robert's house. His wife actually cleared out a shelf in the fridge for the keg after it was done, which was awesome. So that was pretty cool. But we did it. We followed the rules. We drank a bunch of Sam Adams Boston Lager because that was also very accessible at the time.
Yeah.
And we had a great brew day. It fermented well in his closet. We packaged it. Turned out great. Of course, then we were cocky. So then we went to Del Falco's back when it was in its original location on Stella Link. And we thought, fuck, we knew what we're doing. We're going to go get this stuff. We want to do some of that. We need some of that. That next beer did not turn out good. We kept convincing ourselves that it did. It didn't. It was awful. But we did drink all of it. But that's when I kind of flipped over to there's more to this. So I started reading more, started experimenting more. And when I moved to Nashville for graduate school, started getting involved with homebrew clubs, which is a great way to learn. Anybody wanting to learn, you can do it solo, but using homebrew clubs is a really fantastic way to do that, because there's a lot of people who know a lot, have made a lot of mistakes, and are willing to teach by and large. Not to mention in the interim, you get to drink good beer instead of the last batch where you maybe mess something up a little bit, but you're too stubborn to get rid of it, because that's what we all do. But instead you're drinking their good beer that they're probably letting you drink when you're brewing. So, but that's where I got a lot more experience with it. I got involved with the guys at Little Harpeth, and they were going from kind of the garage to a 20 barrel system. Helped them build out their microbiome lab a little bit, and so learned a lot through that process. And then got to hang out with the guys from Yazoo quite a bit, and so that was really cool to see. And so then I kind of came back here to do this, and that's when we continued on with the search. So again, once we got up here with the Saints and Sinners Brewing name, we happened to find this property. It was going to be
Saints and Sinners Brewing at first.
Well, that was the way that after that market research, that weird quibbit that I was talking about earlier, is that one of the biggest problems I found, because you're always in a business proposal, you're trying to solve some problem, perceived or otherwise. And the problem that I kind of figured out or thought that was cool was that I would watch people look at craft beer for a long time, and then they would just buy Coors Light or Miller Lite or whatever. Those were the most interesting people to me, because why do you do that? You spent a lot of time looking, and then you just went with a 12-pack of what you've always drank. And their answer was pretty simple. They're like, I don't know what these things mean. IPA, this, that, like colorful labels. Like, I don't know what all that means. So really, it was just that it's a daunting and it's an information issue, because until you learn about all that, it can be daunting. Like,
right.
What's the difference? I don't know. What's the difference between a single West Coast, double, triple? Like, what's the difference between a Pilsner or Helles? Like, I don't know. I like lager beer.
For you?
The Saint line and the Center line. So the Saint line would always have the same kind of white branding, sessionable, approachable beers. Center line, same kind of big, dark, mean black branding, and that's going to be your bigger, higher ABV, more intense beers. Now, there's a spectrum in both, but at least it puts bounds around how drunk am I going to get and how fast.
Do y'all still do you get 2 white tokens and
we're still in the token system. Yeah, it works out best for us.
You get a center one black token and the two of the Saint tokens?
Well, if you do the flight, yeah. I mean, you can buy them individually as well. I mean, however you'd like to do it, but it really helps, especially when we're really busy, that people don't have to constantly be ringing up tabs or closing out tabs, and
I want
so
to
we
mention
really
that
like
you and
that.
Casey are drinking some of your THC root beer right now.
Yes,
Excellent.
Which
yes,
is delicious,
it's excellent.
and I definitely want to get more of that later. But I wanted to say that is this a black token or is this a white token?
That is a center token.
That's a center
yep,
token?
That's a center token. And see, that's the only place that system has held on was with our taps here in the tap room. Basically, outside of that, turns out from here, long story short, that marketing system does not work. It's too hard to get people to understand it. So nowhere will you see us be using that except in the tap room, and it's mostly to put bounds on that, as well as just kind of two buckets of these beers are more expensive to make, these beers are less expensive to make.
Right.
So it works out.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day coming up here and trading people my white tokens for their black tokens so I could get more apostle.
Some people don't. Some people they it's still a better deal to get the discount, and so they do that. But they just don't want the black way. But they work for anything. That's the reality. Because they're the more expensive token, they work for anything. But everybody has a different way to do it. Some people have the white token. They pay an extra $1 to upgrade it. That works.
I think you're
too.
the last ones doing tokens in Houston. Eighth Wonder just stopped.
Okay, well, we're going to be holdouts because it's a really nice system. It's it's pretty elegant. I mean,
I
again,
like it.
It makes things fast. It makes it makes things pretty simple instead of having to have a million different prices and different serving sizes. We've pretty much stopped doing the 9-ounce pours. If you still have a glass, and we'll obviously help you out, but we're not producing any more 9-ounce glasses. That was a kind of an idea doing a half pour, but honestly, unless you sit with a pint, I don't think you really understand a beer because it's going to be served cold. And then what if it's a little closed when you start it? And then as it warms up, it opens up a whole lot and you realize, oh, okay, I really do enjoy it. Or vice versa. What if you like it when it's really cold and closed? And then as it opens up, maybe you find something you don't like about it. So I think giving a beer a pint before you really make a decision on it is a fair way to do it. Obviously, it's not always the situation. Sometimes all you can do is like a 1-ounce
Get a little sample.
taste.
Yeah.
While we're in the Saints and Sinners thing, it comes to my head. Somebody had mentioned to me recently that there was some kind of situation with St. Arnold and Brash, and they were trying to do like a Saints and Sinners thing, and that you were like, no, something happened.
Nope, not with me. It wasn't me. I mean, we couldn't use it because of a trademarking issue with the guys at Lost Abbey. They have a trademark of turning sinners into saints or something like that.
Oh.
It was actually about to expire like a month later, so we contacted the attorney on file and said, hey, this is about to expire, but we have this coming up. Is this cool? And they had no idea they had it. And then we got a really angry email the next day talking about how they were going to come after us and all these different things. We're like, well, you didn't even know this was about to we could have just let it expire, and then just right after the expiration date, we could have just applied and been fine, but we didn't. We did it right, but it actually forced us into coming up, I think, with a better name overall for the brewery.
Back Pew.
Right.
I think Back Pew's great.
And by the time we had the church at that point, so we were like, well, how do we blend
we're
this
in a
together?
church right now, if you noticed.
So I actually thought the name came after you guys had gotten the church.
No, the Saints and Sinners was the original kind of idea because I thought it'd be a really cool way to do it, especially given living in the South, things like that. But after that, we had to tie it together. Once you have the church, the local lore is that in the Baptist religion, the back pews were the saints and the sinners sat. The saints are the people who sing the loudest, so they stick them in the back so everybody else can hear the pastor. And the sinners come in late from drinking out the night before, which they shouldn't have been, and they leave early to throw up. So we were able to tie it together.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a really great story because it already kind of sounded like it makes sense. Like, oh, back pew. It's just like the yeah. But
And you
that's
got all
a
the
cool story.
pews in here, and you got
We at least have a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our original idea was maybe to do like long beer hall style tables and with pews as the chairs, but that didn't make any damn sense. So
Yeah, it'd be a lot of
instead we
moving
went to a lot of moving around, and pews have edge sides on them basically, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
A little bit harder to clean. Not to mention, then when we had to fix this building and put these pillars in there, that kind of killed that idea.
Can you talk about acquiring this location, this church?
I mean, it was a little challenging. Turns out churches like to sell to other churches. And so, collectively we kind of dodged the question as to what we were going to use it for, because really it doesn't matter. Like this has been on the market for several years and nobody wants it because when we took it over, it was very run down. There was 2 extra temporary buildings in the back that were just disgusting. They did not keep up the property at all. So it was all overgrown, full of like field fencing. This area that's now really nice under here, it was all grown over. So it was a lot of, monumental amount of work, especially without having access to really fun tools like skid steers and things like that. We mostly had sometimes a tractor and then just doing it.
You have a lot of land behind the church.
Yeah, we have 14 acres here.
14
so
acres.
which is pretty nice, but it was in rough shape. So, we were a good option for it. We kind of breathed new life into it.
Yeah. I remember how it used to look.
It was rough.
Yeah.
What's the story of? I've heard so many things. You've told me at some point, but it was kind of like I've heard rumors, the word cult thrown around.
I don't think it was a cult. I think the previous pastor who came here was looking to be a Joel Osteen-esque kind of pastor, and it didn't work out. And then he lost his flock, and then he had to get out of there. So he was from South Africa. Don't know where he went after that, but oh well.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's not super relevant where he went, but yeah. So no, it was a bit of a weird deal. We had a lot of goings on with that. Random people stopping by to tell us stories about the church, which was, kind of good. So the best
Did they
we can
wanna try the
figure,
beer at least?
like 3 pastors ago, it was an Australian dude, and he built it up to what it was. It was this building, and then he got that building next door, built all that out. Large flock, let's just say. Mm-hmm. Then another dude got it, and I guess that can be a little bit questionable depending upon who you talk to about that guy. And then that guy sold it to the South African dude, and that's who we got it from. But it did end up being, as far as we can tell, because we found a lot of notes about it, snake handling, speaking in tongues. There were rules about what happens when that happens. So it's pretty funny to think of that happened. But the best story came when we were taking everything apart and all these random people were coming by. And we had some signs, like the yard signs you put out, like a realtor might put out. And it said Hell House, October 28th. And I thought, whoa, cool, they did a haunted house. How nice is that? That's kind of rad that they did something like I just figured community thing, like something fun for kids of the church. Well, a dude walked by and he's just kind of checking us out, wondering what we're doing, which is the pretty typical question. Or can we have that if we were getting rid of it? And he goes, oh, a Hell House sign. Can I have one of those? And I said, you can if you tell me what it is. And so here's what it was. In the new building, the metal building, they had the 7 deadly sins in gruesome detail, like in a scary way, like to scare the shit out of people. And then if they wanted to be saved, they would bring them into this building where they had all these other great things and give them candy and soda and stuff like that. And he said, oh, we saved so many lives that day, which I'm like, oh, that's fucked, but you can have one, but I'm definitely keeping the other one. So I'm waiting for that date to work perfectly where we could do like just a fun, not like detrimental haunted house for people to come and do.
Yeah, that's wild.
And use the same exact sign.
Yeah.
and see who ends up coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
That's awesome.
Do
That
it.
sounds like a great idea.
But will we get the other people? And that's what I'm curious of.
Yeah.
Will we get the people who were safe that day? And which you're more than welcome. I'm just curious what overall, like who all is coming to that. Does anybody remember the old sign? How many people remember the old sign? Like it'd be cool to see, like, have you been here before? Have you been to
Right.
Have you been to Hell House before?
Yeah.
Because
That's fun.
that sounds like something off of The
Do that.
Simpsons.
Yeah, that is wild. That's pretty cool though. That's some interesting history.
And while we're talking about events, might as well talk about your big Oktoberfest event coming up.
Coming up the first Saturday in October, which I believe is the 4th. And so, that's always huge for us. That's our
You're wearing a kilt at that thing, right?
No, we do Lederhosen. All Lederhosen.
yes,
No, you're
right,
thinking Renfest.
Renfest,
But no, every during Oktoberfest, I'm actually just getting the signs ordered now, so they'll be in time.
You got
so
some
very
kind of
excited.
extravagant outfit though. It's like
It's
legit.
Lederhosen. We all dress up appropriately. I mean, the girls and dirndls, guys in Lederhosen typically. I mean, I guess if you want to do the other, you're more than welcome to, as long as it's Oktoberfesty. We haven't had anybody take us up on that particular cross dress, but hey, you know what? Go
I'll
for
wear a
it.
fedora.
Yeah, I mean that works. Like that works. Some people just choose to do like the little German hat. Like it works. But we have a good time. The cool thing is we're gonna have the homebrewed brass ensemble out this year. Last year it just didn't quite work out, and so we missed that last year. We have a bunch of games: the wife carry, the keg toss, of course Stein holding is usually one of the most appropriate.
You gotta get the drink into by your mouth or whatever.
Oh, that's the marionette.
Yeah, okay.
The marionette will be here. Yeah, the
I
marionette
saw
will be
that
here for
last
sure.
year.
So we'll have the marionette back out there. That one's a little bit trickier. That one usually has to wait till people have had a few before they want to get up there.
It looks difficult.
It's fun. Yeah, once you figure it out, you just can't do it again because otherwise you'll tell everybody how to do it.
There's a trick to
once you
it?
kind of get it. Well, once you kind of get it, it's like anything. You learn how to do it, and then it's like a bicycle. Once you figure out how to ride a bike, you're like, well, how do you not ride a bike?
Yeah.
Well, before that, you're kind of a goober, and you're trying to, you fall over.
Yeah.
So kind of once you get it, you kind of got it. and that's sort of like, all right, that's you had enough turns now. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've never attempted it. I've seen it.
I've never
it's pretty
tried.
fun. It's pretty fun. It's really fun after people have had a few beers because
gotta
then they
come
get
up
a
here
lot
and do
more
it.
We should do it.
adventurous.
Yeah.
But it's a great day. Have several trucks all doing German themed food. I think this year we're gonna have GastroCraft bringing some kind of newer fusion stuff, and then we have another truck who's gonna be doing more traditional things. Some of the various krauts, bratwursts, things like that. So
Very nice.
It's a fun day. I've attended myself.
we have
Yeah.
we usually get really lucky on the weather with that, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
You
Make sure
guys-
you bring your stuff. Like bring like wear your lederhosen if you've got it. Bring out, just know it's going to be packed. So bring some chairs. If you haven't want to bring yourself a little tent, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a great time.
Live
And
music?
there's
Is there
nothing
music?
but
Yeah, we have the homebrew brass ensemble.
yeah.
So
There's-
that works.
There's
out.
nothing but German styles on the tap wall that
We'll
day.
still have some, assuming that there's availability on the tap wall. But we certainly, I think last year we had roughly 20 some odd different German style
Yeah,
beers.
Zwickel beer on
represented.
tap.
You started
That's
off
what
as a traditional German brewery, huh?
Well, that's the goal. Like that's what I really like to do. But we mix it because there's a reason to do a lot of different styles of beer. Our original lineup on the Saint side was Blue Testament, then Sweet Salvation, a brown ale, then Black Habit, which is a Schwarzbier, black lager. In the center side, you had Hot Apostle, American IPA, and then Seder Swill, a German Bock beer, and then Ninth Circle, a black IPA. But obviously, we've had to change things up over time. It's just, market dictates.
Right.
You listen to your customers; they tell you what they want by what they pick up.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a very different back pew from the one I worked at 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago from today.
Yeah, because you're doing like an orange creamsicle beer now that's delicious. What is what's the orange?
Oh, are you talking about Julius Squeezer? Was just that was a our anniversary's coming up and we need to do something very silly.
Yeah.
And so we did. I said
It was
let's
really
do
good,
something. It was good, but it was normally what I drink. I like German lager beer.
Right.
Like that's the flavor profile that I really enjoy, and
Yeah.
so we do a lot of that, and I think
Right.
we do it really well. But we want to do something silly, and then we had AI help us design a very silly label,
Yeah.
which was the whole goal. So we didn't want it to be taken too seriously, because if you opened it thinking like, oh man, we really have to evaluate this, you're going to be thrown off a lot.
Right.
'Cause that was not the point of that product. That product was meant to be a dreamsicle kind of flavored
Yes.
product.
I do want to stay on there, but you it's a topic I've been thinking about asking somebody, and you brought up AI. How are you using AI in craft beer right now?
I like to ask it weird questions and then see what it comes up with. I don't. There's not a need for AI. It can't help me really.
Just to make imagery and stuff occasionally?
For all the one-off beers, I think Steven, helps us. He pops up like an Untapped icon with it. So it's fun from those perspectives. I'm sure I'm underutilizing it, but at the same time, part of what my whole time of training has been is to come up with recipes and things like that. So
I'm
it's
not
gonna help me
suggesting
there.
you use it to make a recipe.
People have,
I know.
and I'm sure it can optimize things really well based on the plethora of information that's available online. So that's its really what it's really good at, besides coding, because it is code. So if it can't code, nobody can code. But
It messes up a lot, though. I use AI quite a bit, and it's wrong quite a bit.
Well, it's based on inputs, and then it's how good of a question you asked it, and can it interpret that question?
You got to know how to prompt it correctly.
So if you can do those things, it's really, really powerful, and it can do repetitive tasks really well because it doesn't get tired unless you overheat the servers. But there's a lot of people being paid a lot of money to make sure they do not overheat. And if you want, I heard the guy who founded ChatGPT is just mad when people say thank you to AI because
I
it
did hear
uses up
that.
so much because it has
It's
to
a waste of
respond,
space.
and you're wasting so much computing power, and everybody's trying to have good manners with it, which I find really, really humorous.
That is weird.
So every time I use it, I definitely make sure I thank it. Sorry, buddy. But no, but it can do interesting deep dives. It can do, from a research basis, it can do some cool things like that. Obviously, it has helped. It's like mathematics, breaking down really difficult algorithms that would otherwise take a long time. So it certainly has a lot of strengths. But overall, here, there's not QuickBooks Online decided to add an AI thing to it. It's fucking awful. It does nothing but make things slower, and it's a pain in the ass because it's wrong almost all the time. So I really wish they would turn that feature or give you an option just don't do that.
I feel like you got to
stop.
be able to cipher through the bullshit with AI to find the.
Well, it's a cool idea. The idea is that I know exactly what you're looking for. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But it's not, unfortunately. So sometimes there are places where it could be really helpful. I'm sure there's rules that you can set up that make it really helpful, but they already had rules anyway. So there are some cool things, and I think that if you leverage it correctly, you can do some really cool things with it. Obviously, it's an amazing algorithm that you can use, but does it apply to just everything? No. Well, that's why certain things you can transfer over to AI and it can do it like better, faster, easier than a person could.
I think we're going to
Other
lose a
things
lot of
can't.
jobs to AI. That's something they keep talking about, but I think the craft beer industry is going to be okay from AI.
Well, it can't drink shit. So, it's worthless from that perspective. So it's just an
I love
awful
that.
drinker. So, you can't really do it. Can't deliver beer. It can't clean lines. It can't do any of those
Can't
things.
deliver beer yet.
It probably won't. I mean, you would need, once we get to those robotics, we're screwed anyway. So nobody's going to be drinking. No, the possibilities of it are very cool. The practicality of it for our particular industry, I'm sure there are applications where it would be really fantastic.
Social media is a big
marketing and stuff. Yeah.
Project workflow. Like if you have a very large plant and you need to find efficiencies, it would be great.
one. Hand camera.
What about it?
Oh, you're putting the camera. No.
Oh,
You're
in front of it.
You're blocking
Okay.
your face.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, so if you have like a large plant and you need to figure out how to optimize workflows, change efficiencies, things like that, I'll bet it could do those really well. It could help you if you can put all that data into it, regurgitate it in a way, and analyze it maybe faster, better. But then it depends how available that data is. It depends on a lot of things. But I'm sure it could offer some really unique perspective on that. And then, but otherwise, it's kind of hard to say that would be a really beneficial
It might be
thing.
something we might. I feel like maybe 10 years from now there might be some more. It's more capabilities for AI and
for
craft
sure,
beer.
yeah.
But
Hey, we were supposed
right now
to
it's
have flying
very limited.
cars, so I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah.
People have been. The Simpsons lied to me, and so did the Jetsons.
Let's get back to the beer. And in fact, I need a beer. Do you mind if I?
I'm
go
down
pour
to get a
myself
beer. I'm ready for
That's
a
fine.
beer.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get you. What do you
Just
want?
whatever.
Ask them questions about beer, and I'm gonna pick one out for you.
All right, something
I'm gonna get a
light
Blue
on the
Testament.
lighter side. Okay, that sounds good.
I'm gonna get 2 Blue Testaments.
Word. Oh yeah. So you're generally wanting to brew German styles. That's generally what you do. I know you you do other styles now more now than ever, right? You're kind of bouncing.
I mean, you say that, but I mean, this summer we did. We had Chola going into the summer as our rotator. Then we flipped over to the Kolsch, and that went really, really extraordinarily well. It was really tasty beer. Then we did King of the Hellas just right there before the King of the Hill reboot did, because we love that beer, we love the branding, and why not?
Right.
And then we just launched Kingsbrow, which is a fest beer style beer.
one of the best fest beers out there, in my opinion.
That's just lager beer after lager beer, really.
I like it.
Yes, so those of you saying a Kolsch is not lager beer, it's an ale. Yeah, we can get into that later, but if you really want to wax intellectual about it, but in my opinion, yes and no. But anyway, so the point is all German styles, kind of pushing all of our rotator beers. So that's pretty cool that we can do that, and it's really cool to see that people are also picking them up because that is. Like since I started this brewery, everybody's told me that, or every like beer publication said this is the year of the lager. They've been fucking wrong every year so far because the IPA's king.
You keep thinking it's going to happen, and it hasn't really fully happened
I
yet.
mean, it's really difficult because in theory it could.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of people that might be that lager profile drinker are drinking typical domestic. So the hedge is on, are they all going to start drinking craft beer? And based on the rapid growth and the amount of volume that we were putting out and the amount of volume that was being purchased, you could make that claim. But practically when it came down to sales dollars, it really didn't materialize. It's just a very difficult thing. The way I look at it is you have a big old castle that is beer, and especially big beer. And they've got their drinkers inside there, and they work really, really hard to put up these walls. Those walls are marketing, and to keep those people from leaving and to stay with their brand. And yes, they're going to continue to shrink every year. That's just the way it is. But they find alternatives. So what happened? Well, I mean, a big one that hit them and us was the seltzer market. They got into the seltzer market,
Right.
so they picked up their
Started
volume
doing
somewhere
seltzer.
else. So are they bummed that they're not selling as much Bud Miller Lite this year? Yeah. But did they also know as a business, did they also sell even more seltzer that cost them even less to make?
right.
Yeah.
Are you going to make seltzers?
That's just something
He's
that's not
made
that's not
seltzers. Bobby's Tears.
right. Yeah, we've had Brewers Tears
Brewers
on before, and that's that was just kind of something fun to do because people had requested it. We also couldn't have wine anymore because of our permitting.
I heard about that.
And so when we did that, we needed to find some alternatives for people who didn't want beer because we understand, you get brought along, with a crew of folks. And so that was one option. It did okay. Eve's Envy, our apple ale, has done a lot better. And so we kind of let the seltzer thing go.
Yeah.
You didn't like brewing the seltzer, right?
It's pretty boring.
Yeah.
I mean, you put, whether it be sucrose or dextrose in water and you ferment it, you have to make sure you add in some nutrients, but pretty basic, and then filter it. You filter it, and then you got a flavoring, and so it wasn't overly.
RTDs are the same thing.
It wasn't all that interesting to me, and from a brewing perspective, not to say, but a bunch of people like it. If you look at the volumes, people buy the shit out of it. It just wasn't. You got to pick what products you do, and as much as you maybe want to do them all, you can't. Not do them well. And so since that wasn't my core piece, I said, we'll let that one go.
Yeah.
But now we're going to try to get our vendor's permit so that way we can serve wine again. And that's something we're working on, but it's going to take time.
So I heard a long time ago that you used to, I guess you used Pioneer as your wine source, and you had ordered some Caduceus wine. I heard you were a Tool fan.
Yes, we have gotten Caduceus, and I am a huge Tool fan. Yes, all of those are accurate.
I used to be a Velvet Slippers Club member.
Oh, nice.
And so I've had a lot of Maynard's wine, and really, really big fan. I was going through a big wine thing back between 2012 and 2017. I kind of started getting more into beer. We had our second kid, and it just got to where I was like, I'm spending too much money on this. I need to go. Beer's a little cheaper. But I loved his wine. So I heard that you had it here, and then somebody was like, well, I don't know if you were selling it or if you were just buying it because you're getting a cheaper price.
I mean,
what I would do.
Our model has changed for a while. It was just have a couple things on, a couple different wines for those who just want a glass of wine.
Right.
And that went pretty well. But then we were challenged by a couple customers that they wanted something different, maybe something a little bit more expensive, this, that, or the other. And so we did stock a few things that were like, if you're ready, you can buy the bottle. It's more expensive, but you should be used to that if you go to any restaurant or whatever. And we weren't even charging that much, but still, it was like, if that's what you want, you got to pay. They did not pay. And so as we think about bringing it back, I'm not sure which model we're going to go with. We're certainly going to make that very affordable, easy to, kind of easy to drink red and white and maybe rosé.
Cans?
No, they're actually just per volume more expensive than if we just got a bottle and poured you a cup.
Yeah.
So in order to give a good price on the wine, we're going to go back. We're going to keep that model. And then we might have a few select extra bottles for those who really want to sit out there and drink a nice bottle of wine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea. I'd be happy to support you in doing it, but our customers have to pull it. Like, I don't need to sell her a bunch of wine.
Yeah,
things I don't need to do.
The style,
so,
you're fine to hold on to it for a little bit anyway.
Well, that's true, but I'm a small. I'm a.
You don't want to hold on to
I don't
inventory.
I don't need to put a whole bunch of money into the wine. I mean, that's not what we're really meant to do. It's meant to be.
You're never going to make wine?
I do not want to make wine. It's not something that's bad to do. It's just it involves quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that to really understand it, you have to get really into the
vintning of it. It's the only thing you
haven't
made now, though.
But it's to really get into it, you have to get into the vintning, and we're not going to be growing grapes here. It's just not the climate for it.
Never say never.
So I just don't want to. It's just not. We're going to let the people who really are into making wine get into making wine, and I'll stick with what I'm into, which is making beer. So,
right. Yeah.
And so that's cool because our feedstocks are really important as well. You have to understand the barley, why it's malted that way. Why would you use it? What's the difference between this one and that one? Why would you choose that base malt? Why would you choose that crystal malt? What's really different about them? Doesn't matter. In certain instances, I can tell you, just like in any field, sales guys will come to me. Oh, we got this great new malt. Well, it looks just like that malt, except it costs another 20 cents a pound. Well, yeah, but it's gonna be really cool. It doesn't matter. Like, I can do the same thing with this that you already have, and I buy from you already. But that's their job. They were told. Some manufacturer came out with a new product. They want to go see about getting it pushed. Is it going to catch on? So I get it, but sometimes like hops. So Citra is one of the I'd say top tier hops you can buy. Probably the most popular hop in the U.S. and maybe even the world, but definitely U.S. The amount grown, the amount used, the amount in beers is huge, and it's got a lot of reasons for that. It just happens to be kind of this unicorn hop that has the right acids and the right concentrations, the right flavor profile, the right aroma profile to give what people think of.
Beers, huh?
A lot of people do, at least even in a little bit, because of some of the things that Citra does. Like if you dry hop just with, say, Cascade, you're going to get a pretty good effect. You add in some Citra because of one of the acids in it, you're actually going to get an accentuation of both. And so it'll seem like you dry hopped with more. There's a couple hops that have this particular acid. Sriracha Ace actually is one of the ones with the most. However, you don't, unless you want to dill pickle beer, you're not going to be dumping that into dry hop in a large quantity.
Yeah.
So instead, you go to Citra. And there's some other really famous hops that have quite a bit of it. I believe Mosaic
What's
has
in
quite a bit of it.
It's Citra.
Azaka, Citra, and it was Comet, but we had to switch to Cascade because Comet, unfortunately, is losing acreage, and so the price is going up.
Oh, wow.
So it's still in the hot side while we have some, but I had to switch off and pull back on dry hopping and switched over to Cascade.
When I was here at Back Pew, Tanuki sold so easily. I could sell that beer to anybody at any HEB. They walk up to me, try this beer. They don't even like beer. They definitely don't like IPAs. And then they're like, this is an IPA? And they're like, let me get a 6-pack. I just stick it in their cart like old Dan White.
Dan White, yeah.
Dan White used to say. Such a great beer.
It doesn't come out of the buggy very often. But yeah, so it's a really great hop. And so because it's so popular, you get a lot more acreage. A lot more acreage comes a lot more yield. A lot more yield finally drives the price down. So you come to me with a new designer hop that's kind of like Citra, but it costs twice as much per pound. Why would I entertain that when I've got Citra? And so it becomes kind of weird. And for a while, like I don't know if you guys remember in the early craft beer days, like doing smash IPAs to really show like this hop or that hop,
yeah,
or having an experimental hop smash beer was fire.
I thought that was cool.
People would eat it up.
I liked it.
I don't know that when I see them now, it just doesn't really happen. Like, because unfortunately, a lot of experimental hops, the reason why they don't go to mass market is there's always something maybe a little bit odd with it. Maybe it grows funky, maybe it gets rot faster, or maybe just the flavor profile is a little bit wrong. So because even year to year and lot to lot, I can tell you a lot of the big breweries are going to want to go select, like, we want this Citra from this field.
Right.
This is the one we want. This is what has the flavor profile we're looking for this, right now. So you can get really, really picky about that. So if you're somewhere in the middle there where maybe sometimes it presents really well, say blueberry, and then other times it's, I don't know, earthy, like peppery.
Yeah.
That's a really big gamble to take to start to design a beer around it, depending upon where it's going to grow. So that hop is not going to show back up. And so that's, I think, what happens to a lot of the experimental hops. It just doesn't make it. Like it doesn't have enough of all the good stuff to outweigh some of those other things. Because even, I'm sure if you look at the full flavor and aroma profile of even Citra, it will have some other things that could throw you. It's not just citrus and this and that, the other. When you get down to it, they'll list some other things. You'll be like, I never get that with Citra.
Right.
And the chances are that it's there, technically, but maybe just in such a small quantity, you'll really never see or smell it, taste it, all that.
Yeah.
But if you really break it down with GCMS or something like that, yep, that compound's in there.
Yeah. Interesting.
What's your favorite hop?
Citra's really nice. I like a lot of the classic hops, Centennial, Cascade, Citra. Not a big Mosaic fan.
How come?
It doesn't do it for me. Not by itself. I think you can blend it with other things. I like blending it. It's a great hop to add for that. But just on its own, I feel it just doesn't do it for me on the palate.
Because that's when you were talking about how they can be different flavor profiles depending on where they're coming from. I noticed definitely over the years drinking Smash Mosaics, regardless of who makes them, they can change quite a bit. They can be a little oniony, a little funky, little BO action, which I like to talk about because I actually enjoy Mosaic. I like Mosaic, so I don't mean to make that sound like it's a bad thing. But it is funky sometimes, and then sometimes it's more fruity, so more grapefruity.
Growing, it's like it's as though you were going to make wine, where the growing conditions, the growing region, that's going to present differently year to year, lot to lot, or Mosaic grown in certain parts of Oregon versus maybe certain parts of Washington, wherever they're going to grow it. Idaho, I think, grows a lot of hops. So, where is it being grown? How is it being cultivated? And it's not that they're growing it improperly, but those things will have an impact. Similar if you were trying to do vintning. Did you have a particularly hot year, wet year?
Right.
Are the grapes overripe? Are they underripe? Is the yield low? Did they have rot? All those things are going to really impact what's going to happen to that wine, because what's in those skins and things like, what if they had a wildfire? Are you going to get the smoke, what do they call it, smoke taint? There's a lot that can happen in the agricultural side of our product.
The terroir.
That by it comes to us, we have to kind of evaluate that. With grain, you don't have as much variation in that in terms of like your 2 rows and your 6 rows, as long as you're buying it kind of consistently.
Okay.
But the hops, I would imagine, because of all the aromatic compounds, you're probably going to get much more of in my opinion, you're going to get much more of an impact of those growing seasons. With grain, it's mostly a yield issue.
Okay.
Protein will change differently, but because the maltsters have so much control over what they're going to do in that stage, they can see what their incoming is, see how they need to modify it, maybe even dope it with some grain from somewhere else that is this or that. Like say you have too much protein, these guys came in way under protein. Blend that together, and you can hit kind of your protein number.
Okay, so it's more about the protein levels, not so much.
That's
that
just an
it's-
example. Like
Yeah.
that's just one of the characteristics that a lot of malt manufacturers will want to keep within a certain range. So that way, we as brewers can say, okay, well, if that number is way out of the way, and you're trying to make beautiful clear lagers, you're gonna have to go somewhere else because do I really want to try to remove all that protein?
Yeah.
And if it's for the same dollars, I need this, which will get me the same yields. Other than that, but my protein's a lot less.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
there's a lot of things that you potentially could consider and say, yeah, I'll go somewhere. I'll make a turn. So those things, we just get it on the back end, right? Whereas vintning, making wine, you face it right there.
Yeah, that's your crop.
That is what you have to work with. And you can make wine other ways. You can buy juice from like some well-known growers.
Right.
So you can do some other things. I just feel like I think the fun part is being so tight in with your viticulture, just so that way you can then turn that into your wine and tell the story of all that, because all of that goes together. Whereas when you just get juice, you kind of just get juice.
Do you still love doing this every day?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, every day. Sometimes when you're just whacking on something because it's broken, those days are rougher. But and that happens. I mean, you have a lot of equipment. Equipment breaks.
Back Pew's pretty big. You got your
But-
hands in everything. It's a lot.
Yeah, we have a lot, and so we have, but so some days can be rough, and you go, why do you do this? But that I think everybody has those days, regardless of the industry or what
Are you
you're
the
doing.
biggest self-distribution brewery in the
No,
States?
Austin Beer Works. They do
Austin
like
Beer Works?
17,000 barrels a year, so
Okay.
maybe more. I know they've done very, very well,
State,
and to
I
my
know.
knowledge, they're still self-distro.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You're pretty high on that list.
I mean, I know that it is a potentially controversial thing to stay self-distro. Obviously, they're working with distributors can be very powerful, but it also takes a particular skill set and an understanding of how to work with those guys. And so, for me, it just didn't really work out with the way I kind of operate.
Because you
to do
did
that.
self-distribution. For a
We did
little while.
self-distro, and then we went with the distributor.
you did distribution.
And then we went back to self-distro. And so it just didn't quite work out for us, but there's obviously a lot of people who it works really well for. From certain instances, it would be great because, with rolling stock, things like that, more things to break, more concerns you have, more controls you have to do. And, they have a lot more people, especially larger distributors. So that's really powerful. But you have to be able to work with them in certain ways that I personally couldn't figure out. And that's on me more so than on them. And so it didn't work out. So we went back to what we know and can do well, which is the self-distro model.
I feel like distribution, and one of the reasons I don't like working with distribution is they never push your product as hard as they push the other guys.
Well, that's probably how they feel too, the other guys. But it's like I said, there's a method and a madness to how all of that works, and a lot of it has to do with working with them the correct way. And so if you know how to do that and can do it well, because they have expectations and you have to meet those. And a lot of us small guys, it's really hard for us to meet those expectations. And so, once you figure that out and can, I think it'd be a much more beneficial relationship for both parties. Obviously they'll like working with you more because you're doing what they expect you to do. They are selling more beer, which is what you hope they do. And so it all works well. Like I said, I didn't quite figure out how that works. So for me, it didn't work out. But there's a lot of guys who do know that and understand how that works.
Well,
and
you built
it
your
works
own
well for that.
distribution setup. You got 5 salespeople?
I thought it was more than that.
It was 6 for a minute.
We've got 5 salespeople in the
You
Houston
got
market.
A route, delivery drivers, 3 trucks?
We have 3 vans. One's a flex van mostly. We can handle, luckily, most of our stuff with the 2. Most of the time. But then if not, we have the 3rd, which is always good to have an extra when you can.
Are you only doing Houston right now still?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We go to Beaumont. I go to
Beaumont.
Beaumont once every 3 to 4 weeks. The group with Hearsay has been really great to work with, and they opened up out there and are doing a really killer job. They have a really cool space like right in downtown Beaumont. I can't remember what type of factory it was, but it was an old factory of some sort, and they've renovated. It's 2 stories. Very, very cool. And I think they're doing very well, offering really nice food, good beverage as well. And so they luckily have brought us on there, and they're doing quite well out there. So so that's pretty fun to do. We're looking at potentially expanding into San Antonio at some point, but
That's where you would go next.
But that's where I think we would go next. But I don't know that we're quite ready to do it, but I'm thinking about doing it more seriously than I have in the past.
If you're doing San Antonio, might as well do Austin.
No, way different markets. In my opinion, way different markets. What they're looking for can be a little bit different, as well as the overall. When you start looking at just numbers, population-wise, San Antonio is huge. So is Austin. But from a brewery per square area perspective, San Antonio is much more underserved.
I agree.
So from that perspective, I think they want to support local. They want to support Texas. There just isn't as much there for them to do so. And so you have to bring it to them, and not to say that in a negative way. It's just not.
That's
like
how it is.
it's like when I moved to Houston to do this, we didn't. We had maybe 4 or 5 breweries, so we were really underserved on a per capita basis versus Austin or Nashville, where I was. So many more breweries there per person. So will it happen? Will it go there? I don't know. But in the interim, I certainly think that the drinkers looking for a product, great craft beer are there. And so you go and do that. Plus, since I did my undergrad there, with Trinity, it's always cool to go back to San Antonio. I'd love to see product over there.
Okay.
And so there's a link to it from our perspective. But Austin has a lot more great local breweries, and they're going to support them. Like that's a cool thing about if you're an Austin brewery in Austin, they have a lot of great local support, and it's a very different game going there.
Heard that.
We're drinking Blue Testament right now. So this is made with real Texas blue corn.
It's true. Yep, it was it's
The
my
flagship,
baby.
right?
It's my baby. It's been with us for a long time. It's a very complex beer to make, being that it starts off with a cereal mash. That means getting the raw barley or the malted barley in there with the raw corn that we get from West Texas. And basically you do kind of a first sacrification rest. I mean, I think it's a relative palate idea, but it's sitting at 25 IBUs. But it is Pilsners have a little bit of bite to them. Some of that comes from the carbonic acid, like from the carbonation, because I keep it really bubbly. But I think that really helps balance out all that great flavor. Okay. Because the cool thing about doing things like a cereal mash, where you're having to deal with that corn and doing 2 decoctions, is you develop those melanoidins, you develop that depth of flavor on the palate with not making it thin. So you have something to support all that flavor on. Whereas if you tried to have all that in a very thin beer, it would just be on and off the palate too fast. And you wouldn't really get to enjoy it or appreciate it.
Right on. That's pretty cool. And did you change the recipe at any point in time?
Yes, when we first started, I was at like 20% corn, and I actually had gone to 35 for a moment. But after an altercation with somebody in market, in terms of them saying my beer had diacetyl in it, which diacetyl and dimethyl sulfide are 2 primary compounds that as lager brewers you have to be very cognizant of, because usually that's a sign of bad brewing, right? For diacetyl, for anybody at home is wondering, if you walk through a movie theater and smell that butter popcorn smell, that's what your beer would taste like, and not in a positive way. Right. It's not like putting your mouth underneath the butter thingy and going, It's more of a, like, this is funky, weird, buttery off flavor. It also happens to be the flavor compound that is responsible for buttery flavor in Chardonnays. So same flavor compound, but corn tastes like corn for 2 reasons. It's diacetyl and dimethyl sulfide. And so calling it out as being an improper flavor compound versus it just being the reason why it tastes like that is because there's a bunch of corn in it is too much of a distinction to worry about trying to fight. So I thought it was cool because you got a lot more of that beautiful blue corn flavor, and it's a difficult ingredient to work with and all that. So I thought, hey, let's put that in there. It's really, really cool. Yeah. But it got confused a little bit as to what it was, and so we had to back off that a little bit. So that way, yes, you still get that, you still enjoy that flavor, bringing in that blue corn, because white corn's very neutral, yellow corn's bitter and astringent, and blue corn's kind of a cool middle ground, and it's also got almost a fruity character, I find. Interesting. But it is cool to use it, and I want to use it. It's just like the ethos of that beer. And so, but we had to drop the percentage. But that happened. I mean, the last time we probably changed the percentage of corn in it was in 2017.
Okay, right on. Very cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I want there's one of the beers that you did last year that I thought was amazing. Girl Dad. That's a seasonal. You're not currently making Girl Dad.
No, we did that when we found out Channing Herring's daughter had cancer,
From
and so
Nobi Ice House.
And we had kind of talked about the idea of doing it or just a beer. And then when that news kind of came out, in order to try to generate some revenue, I thought, what if we did that and then promoted it? And so we did. And so it was a cool little sessionable kind of IPA done with a unique yeast from Omega Yeast.
And how much of the proceeds went to training?
I think we were able to cut him a check for about $5K, which
Wow.
was nice.
That's awesome.
So we gave him
really cool.
from that beer, like all of that went to him.
That's amazing.
That's great.
That was the whole purpose. I think.
And you are a
that's-
girl
it's
dad
been-
yourself, too.
Yeah.
I'm a girl dad.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
You're not a
two
girl
boys,
dad.
but-
I did my.
How's your daughter?
She's 2.5.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
I
2.5.
worked here when she was born.
that's awesome.
So I
Fresh.
actually just started.
Yeah,
Fresh. But yeah, no, she's 2.5 now, so she's causing all kinds of grief.
all the two stuff.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have twin 7-year-olds. We did their first birthday here. I think that was the first time I met you. I walked up to you and I said, there was 2 times I met you. I don't know if it was the F your liver time or it was I think it was the girls. And I said, hey, do you mind if I just set up back here, have some family members? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, can I put some like streamers around you got some wood 4x4 type things hanging out of the, and there's like umbrella type things.
Or the sails out there and
The
all
sails.
that, so that way you can.
Yeah. Oh, that was out there back then.
We did that.
7 years ago.
We did the covers, the sails, pretty a good while ago. This new cover, we just did that in 2022.
Yeah.
And so but we did the sales pretty early on because we just we opened when we first did our first day of service was March 8th of 2016. We just opened the back. We had a couple tables that we quickly realized that wasn't going to cut it. Like when people wanted to come out, we needed something. But again, all of this on this side was all miserable. Like none of this was usable really.
Just sitting in the sun.
So it was just right out that big back doors. And so we thought, well, we can make kind of some temporary shade, or not temporary, but like kind of make it cool. But we couldn't do any rigid structures.
You
Couldn't
got
do
the
anything
stage
like that.
back there too.
That came
big
later.
stage.
Yeah, that
It's a
came
really
later.
nice stage.
Really nice stage. And
Yeah.
when you first started, everything was in the other building, right?
Yep, everything. Every weekend we would at the end of the week we'd convert over to tap room hours, quote unquote. Put all the tables out, put the direct draw out there, and then on every Monday morning, first thing you do is pick all that up. That's just, that's what you had to do. It was the only space we had, and you couldn't just leave it there all week.
Right.
So it works out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I remember seeing Fab Five here.
Yep, they come. We have them. They should be. Let's see, were they spring? I think they were spring this year. And so then fall.
yeah.
We got fall. We had them 2 times a year for a little while, but we're going to go back to 1 just so we can rotate the bands a little bit more.
Yeah, no, Fab
They
Five.
do a great
they're
job,
awesome.
though.
And they bring a
They're
ton of
they're
people.
awesome.
I know the first, I think, first 2 years they were here, it was just like bananas.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
like there's
wild.
is that the biggest concert event?
I honestly couldn't. I wish I could tell you, but I can tell you they pull really well. They do a great job. The Nightbird folks pull really well. That's Fleetwood Mac, and so they do a really great job. And we've had some cool ones. The one we have coming up, Journey, that Escape. Those guys put on a really great show.
They're called Escape.
Yeah, Escape, and they're playing in September, and they always put on a great show.
You
and
try to
people love
stay
see
for the
them.
shows?
As much as I can. Usually, I'm doing something. I'm doing something somewhere for them.
Right, yeah.
So I may not be out there doing anything, but I'm usually doing something.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That stage is great, and I've seen a few different acts play out there and do some good stuff. So
It's a good spot.
yeah. So kind of reminded me when you were saying you weren't 100% positive about the answer to that question. How involved are you with the tap room?
I mean, as much as I can be. I mean, we have a great staff that takes care of most things. But for a while, the thing is, when we first opened the tap room, things I was here a lot more. But especially with Chris managing it and things like that, they can handle it. Like obviously, if they need help, they
Shout
can
out
tell
to
me.
Chris Martin.
Yeah,
But,
shout out to that guy.
But that's kind of, I think, a positive thing that I don't have to be on top of that as
Right.
much. So it's not like an unnecessary thing, but it has worked out well because when you can certainly trust your people to take care of it, that's a good thing.
That is great.
And
That's a
so,
great thing if you delegate.
It's just one of those things I think you end up morphing into, but you don't want to necessarily get away for good because some parts of it you don't see the people as much, which kind of sucks.
Right. They definitely like to see you.
But it's kind of it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but it's also overall though I think it's a very positive thing. That
Way you can
they
focus on brewing and
well, they can identify with the staff as well, and so it's nice. Like for people who come on a regular basis, or if you have a local watering hole, you like going to see this like a similar bartender all the time because they know your order. They you get to talking to them. It's kind of part of the cool part about going to a brewery or a bar or something like that.
I felt like
Or
I
you
knew
get to-
everybody here before I worked here.
Or you
which is
get
really
to
cool.
you get to know people, and that's that's part of that community aspect. And
Yeah.
so, having people here on a consistent basis is really important to us as a group, as well as it's something we've been able to do, which is awesome. But yeah, just because I get pulled in a lot of directions, I don't probably show up in here as much as I used to. But that's just kind of the way things have, I guess not unfortunately, but have evolved.
Right, yeah. And you
Not
have a
unfortunately
2-year-old,
or
so.
involved. Yeah, I do try to do
That's
that.
probably
do
what
dad mode as
changed
much
it.
as I can.
Yeah.
I wanna
Because
use-
it happens fast. It
Yeah.
changes
Yeah.
really quickly.
Yes.
I want to use that as an opportunity to talk about some of my experiences when I was here. So you were involved with the sales team. We had a meeting every Friday, and you went through everything. I learned a lot when I was here. I'm going to be honest. I don't think. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to work here and be a part of the craft beer industry and opening the door for me and teaching me so much, because I really did. I learned a lot from you.
Good.
And I really appreciate that. I
Absolutely.
appreciate my time here.
That's how you can go and do. If you don't have information, you can't do what you need to do.
Yeah, you're a very knowledgeable person. I think in all aspects. I think you know a lot about sales. You know, obviously, so much about making beer, and of course, running the tap room. And you've thought about every single element of everything.
We keep it simple, that's for sure. If that's what you mean by thought about it.
I'm like, if
I was
said
like, we could do all that, but that's going to be a pain in the ass. So we're just going to do this instead.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then we're just going to, and then we keep it basic.
There you go.
you like we were here a week ago, and I was talking to Chris, and I said, did they ever think about putting a restaurant in here? And of course you thought about putting a restaurant in here.
We have.
He kind of talked about it, but he's like, that was not the route that we decided to go.
No, it just didn't. It didn't make sense to do that. Every now and then you think it'd be really cool, but there are potential heavy drawbacks with food as well. And you can, if you know how to do it, you can do it really, really well.
Right.
And I just don't have that background, and so it makes a lot more sense. As well as I do like to be able to vary the food on a regular basis, which is why I always enjoyed the food truck thing, where you can be like, okay, we're gonna rotate the styles and the types of food you get.
I personally like that.
And that can be problematic because some people, it turns out the opposite's also true. Some people like regularity.
Yeah.
And so it can ruffle feathers a little bit to do it that way, but I think that's kind of also just part of it. So, that's why you have to stay ahead of letting people know what's going to be out there today, what's going to be out there, coming up, so that way they can plan appropriately. Maybe they're going to go somewhere and eat first, then come over and have a beer, or come out early for a beer and then head somewhere else for dinner.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, we hope, we think we get quality food trucks, and we hope that something on their menu fits. But we know that that's impossible for everybody. But almost any kitchen is going to be that way. Like, you don't choose to eat Thai food every day because you don't want Thai food every day. So you just have to kind of make that call for yourself.
What kind of food trucks are y'all getting here?
Chris would be the better person to answer that for you, but one of the trickier parts is that we are a little further out, so we don't have access to as many as like, say, if we were in town where a lot of them operate.
I could see a board over here. I see Gastrocraft. I see Marimba,
Marimba de Sabores.
Divine Dogs.
Divine Dogs.
Rosalila. So
Great. Yeah, all
Yeah,
great.
so they all do good different things, which is really cool. But just the food truck industry, I think, has had a pretty rough go of it. And so
Yeah, it
we
has.
used to have a little bit more access to some different ones.
For real.
And I think they, for whatever reason, like, things have changed. In fact, I was just driving, I was down near Pinkerton's barbecue, and so I was driving up there. Walker, which used to be a really popular barbecue food truck, has a brick and mortar now. And oftentimes, once that happens, like, we used to have flipping patties. They made a brick and mortar. They don't really do the truck anymore. So a lot of the really cool, unique food trucks that Texas had, or that Houston had, a lot of them have graduated, whether it be positive or negative, to brick and mortar. And when they do that, I think it's a lot harder to run the truck,
Right.
Because they're probably I would assume, being successful with that because their
Right.
people followed them. But then you don't have time to run a truck, because running a truck is a lot between just the maintenance of the truck itself,
Right, yeah.
and then food prep and all that stuff. So that is one of the trickier parts, and so really trying to keep in the good partnership with those people we do have,
Right.
Which is why we want you to buy food from them when you come.
Absolutely, yeah.
It keeps them going. So
Yeah.
really important to do that, and so you just have to keep looking, though, because other people are starting up all the time. So
Gastrocraft's here quite a bit. I think they're here more than any other food truck. And one thing, Gastrocraft is owned by Dennis Ferre, and he's a really good friend of mine. I was actually just working with him at the school just a bit
I
ago.
picked him up.
And then he's going to be here tonight too. But he
Trevor.
changes his menu every week, so
Really
he's
appreciate
always
what did I have that he made me something?
enchilada melt.
Enchilada melt was
So he
great.
went to culinary school and up in Rhode Island, and he can do all kinds of things. He generally kind of makes a lot of basic items because when you're at a brewery, generally people just kind of want burgers. So he always has a burger on the menu, always has the goji grilled cheese. But today he has like a fondue melt for the vegetarian option. He has an enchilada melt. He's kind of got he can do like a chicken sandwich. Got a lot of things going on. But next week it'll be completely different, minus the burger and the grilled cheese. So yeah, that's one thing. It kind of keeps it rotating, keeps it interesting. And once people get they get used to seeing gastrocraft here, they try different things. They're more willing to kind of go outside the box, which is cool.
Wow. Hey, guys, we've been going for exactly an hour. Let's take a break.
I got to pee.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take a break. Hello, and welcome to Spider Games. A few years ago, I started selling a couple video games on eBay. Now I'm selling video games of all generations, retro toys, and anything I think's cool. I'm a top-rated seller because I package well and I take care of my customers. Check out my store on eBay. It's called Spider Games. Do you have any old video games sitting around? I buy video games of all generations, and I pay better than the game stores. If you do, email me at spidergamesebay@gmail.com.
I'm also known as DJ Sino. You can find me at least a couple of different breweries or craft beer bars throughout the month hosting the best music bingo in all of Houston. We'll be sharing those shenanigans right here on the Beer Someone podcast.
F your liver, the game that will have you salute the general, and then say the alphabet backwards, and then elect the president, and then bust a move, and then throw a ninja star, and then shoot your finger gun, and then roar like a T-Rex, and then freeze like ice, and then karate chop, and then bust a rhyme, and then bet on a horse race, and then spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and then make your buddy laugh. Don't touch the ground because the floor is lava. Tell a story. Read my lips. Just grab 3 to 20 friends, a drink of your choice, shuffle and flip the top card, and let the chaotic hilarity unfold. F your liver, a game worth drinking to.
Hey, everybody. We're here at Back Pew, back from our break with Bobby Harl, and I got Casey here.
Woo!
And we're going to play a little quick round of F Your Liver like we normally do. Bobby was a big part of F Your Liver's beginnings. At least he let me set up multiple times here at Back.
Yeah, I was about to
Pew.
say you better be careful how you say big part. You could come set up. I didn't do actively. I didn't do
part is
anything.
me
allowed it to
breaking
happen.
into-
Passively, I absolutely did help.
part of me breaking into the craft beer industry. So when we did the card game, the first time before they were actual cards, they were written out on little like flashcards. And we set up there in the back and we played F Your Liver, and we had a bunch of people with us that were testing it. And they wrote down what cards they liked and what cards they didn't like. And we were trying to determine what the game was going to be. The first time we ever did that was here at Back Pew.
Oh, cool.
And
Make sure you're talking in the
oh
microphone.
yeah,
sir.
the first time we ever did that was here at Back Pew. And
That's
then
why I'm over here hunched over for the entire
I know.
video. Like I'm staying right next to the robot penis.
You've been the best at it so far than anyone.
But I have if somebody's gonna comment like he's got a major hunch, like because I'm just trying to make sure. That
I do it too, though. I'm doing the same thing.
But yeah, we also set up here a couple times to tell people about the game, and it was pretty cool before we did the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by a big part.
Yeah.
You were the
I
first.
very
brewery to-
passively let you. You went. Could I come set up from show people my card game? And I went yes.
Yes.
And that was it. I probably then walked off to do something.
could have
No
said
offense,
no.
but I
You
was
could
like,
have said no. You
like,
could have said
I'm just saying, like, just I understand that the work I did zero work for that,
just
but I
being-
love the kudos. But just know, I didn't do much.
But he's never played before. And no, and you were the first brewery we asked because I loved Back Pew. I love Back Pew. Yeah, we also did stuff with Spindle Tap and Ingenious
Yeah.
and Megaton and some other.
You were all over the place for a
everywhere.
while.
Yeah. But here, let's play F Your Liver for the first time. Just a little short game. And you just need to draw a card.
F your liver.
Categories. The player who pulled this card will choose a category, types of candy, states, etc. The next
this a
player
while.
has to say something from the category. This will continue until a player repeats a word or cannot produce one. The loser drinks.
So you can do it whatever you want, but we do usually try to keep it beer related.
I mean, I would say beer styles, so I'll go with Hellas.
Okay. Bach.
Pilsner.
IPA.
Double IPA.
Sour.
White IPA.
Zwickel beer.
Farmhouse Ale.
Rausch beer.
He's gonna kick our ass in this.
You realize you can just make them up.
German lager.
Did we say West Coast IPA?
No, there you go.
There you
Black
go.
Cascadian Dark Ale.
Oh, dang. Tripel. Belgian Tripel.
Sour IPA.
Single.
Quad Tripel.
Session IPA.
Dubel, just so we can knock out the Belgians.
There we go. He saw where I was going with that. Blonde Ale.
How am I running out of ideas here? Did we say Hefeweizen?
No.
Dunkel.
Marzen.
Coffee stout.
Fest beer.
He knows what I'm going to say before I say it. I drink. I'm going to drink.
Yeah, there you go. It was fun.
Yeah, there you go. That was good.
That's
That was
pretty
pretty
good.
good. I don't know how I didn't lose that.
You did good. That Hefeweizen was like clutch. That kept you in there.
You gotta have those obscure styles.
Yeah.
How many did you have in the back of your head ready to go?
None, because I didn't know what you were gonna say, so I
It just
had to
seemed
pick
like
one.
I was thinking about whatever it was that you were saying. Like I was already planning on saying on the German style or the Belgian styles in German.
We didn't even go through the American stuff. Nobody said brown ale.
No, yeah, that's true.
Just nothing like that. Cali
Yeah.
Common. We
Yeah,
we went
Steam beer.
We just went straight to Europe.
I think we said all the IPAs though.
We went through quite a few IPAs.
What you got?
Field sobriety test. Starting with the card puller, say the alphabet backwards. Each player will say a letter until someone makes a mistake. That player must drink.
Oh, I'm not good at that. I've never spent the time to learn it.
I'm not
I know
good at
people
it.
who people who spent the time to learn that specifically for obvious reasons.
Z
Why?
X.
W because I'm cheating.
It's on the
card.
It's on there.
It's on the card.
Oh, I'm gonna suck. V?
I'm lost because it's actually not accurate.
No, that is not accurate. No, it's wrong. It's wrong.
Well, that
Don't
devolved
cheat.
quickly.
Yeah. Don't cheat. It does not help.
I
right,
totally
Brandon's
guessed it.
turn.
Okay, let's see what I got. Oh wow, we got all the games. True or false? So this one, the
Just
card
classic
puller
true or
must
false?
make a true or false statement about themselves. Everyone in the group must say if they believe it is true or false. The incorrect players must drink. Okay, I'm going to keep it related. I started at Back Pew when I worked at Back Pew in September of 2023.
False.
True.
True.
I mean, that was unfortunately a gimme. You're fucked on that one.
Yeah, you were a little fucked. I don't know if he remembers.
I remember things, not all, like a reasonably large number of them.
Yeah.
Other things, not at all.
Yeah, like dates and number type things.
I like the bummer. The one that I work on, like, there's self-help books, which is relative because you just like you're not help. You're getting help from somebody, and then you have to do them. But you
know
get
what?
the idea.
I just realized that me and you both have to drink because I was wrong. It was 2022. I said 23, so
Oh,
you
that's
take it
right.
back. So
Yeah, cheers. But the like the one that I always try to work on myself is names.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, say it three
I
times.
I can remember people. Like I'll be like, oh, I'll remember a story about said person.
Yes.
But people are like, what's that dude's name?
Yeah.
It takes me a while. It's something I'm not proud of, but it does happen.
It
And I
does.
feel very bad about that because people will be like, hey, they'll ask me things. We will have gone through long conversations.
Right.
And I just, for the life of me, for no reason that I can figure out, I just am not that great with names.
That happens here when I'm hosting Music Bingo. There's two couples that will come, not together. They're two different couples that come, but they come for the Music Bingo here quite often. And I've just really tried recently to really try because it's like, man, they've been coming here for a year, and I just have not remembered. But I remember them. I'm really worked on it recently because I was like kicking myself for it. I was like, I really need to know
it's
their
something
names.
you have to
Support.
you have to get good at learning people's names when you do sales.
Yeah.
Like you have to remember
important.
the buyers every single week
yeah.
when you walk into those places.
It's important.
It's important in general. Like
Yeah.
I don't not want to remember somebody's name I interacted with. I just, for some reason, that piece of data is lost. Like I said, I'll remember some weird random story about their dog. I'll remember the dog's name.
Yeah. Mhm.
And for some, I just
Remember what beer they drink?
I remember a lot of weird other things about them, and it's great to see them again. But I just if I had to be called right on the spot, oftentimes I just wouldn't. If anybody hears this, they'll be like, "What's my name?" And so it's going to get really awkward really quick.
But see, since I'm like that, I'm not as like I don't get as upset when people can't remember my name. They're like, I can't. I know I've met you so many times. I'm like, I get it, man. I'm not worried about it because I'm similar in that way.
Yeah, no, I don't get upset when people don't know my name. I'm surprised sometimes.
Yeah.
When you first started doing distribution with selling beer with Back Pew, you were out there selling it in the market yourself, weren't you?
So we kind of started. What I would do is I'd work here during the day, and then I would go out at night and hit 3 or 4 bars at a time.
Yeah.
And that was the method. When you start a business, nothing's generally perfect. So having day sales for keg only was challenging because I couldn't be up here working on stuff and be in market during the day. And so I had my own unique methodology to doing that. However, that was not something that could have been done over long periods of time and actually tried to grow, right? So then we had to start finding people who would go out in the market and help with that.
What were some of those early customers that you would go?
Our first 7, Shepherd Park Draft House, which unfortunately is gone now, Huey's on West 18th, Tin Roof was one of those first ones, Moon Tower. So we had 7 accounts on the first day of distribution, which was November 20th of 2015. Only beer we had was Blue, and I launched a Pilsner going into the winter months of, everybody's like, "Where's your stout?" I was like, "I've got one beer, and 2 weeks from now we will have a second beer."
Yeah.
But it did really well, and so it wasn't that much of a problem. But still, it was funny because now we know kind of when people are going to ask for what styles, and it has changed since then. It's been 10 years. So when they started asking for stouts was later. Now they're starting to ask for the porter stouts in October. Usually it was at that time, it was like kind of mid-November. It would start to ask for that. But the number of offerings they get are hugely different than they were back then. So many more, not just, a lot more national brands have broken into Texas. The TABC actually, whether it be intentional or otherwise, it was harder for out-of-state breweries to get in than I realized. Like just label approval, they would drag their feet with it. And again, this could have been on purpose. I don't know. I'm thinking it's probably just because they didn't do it. But either way, it did make it apparently more difficult for national brands to bring brands in, which was really good for the Texas craft beer industry. But consumers obviously wanted some of that outside stuff to come in because they wanted to try it too. And so now I think, as far as I can tell, any national brand that wants to come in can, and they have. Interestingly, I think of some beers, say like Pseudo-Sue from Toppling Goliath. That was a beer which I remember people just being enthralled with. Came to Texas, and it's still around, but compared to when you couldn't get it, and anybody had some or would go up there, they would buy a bunch, bring it back, and everybody would have it. I think sometimes the lack of availability is almost better. Like if Spotted Cow came down from New Glarus, would it sell the way it does when people go up to Wisconsin and buy a truckload of Spotted Cow to bring back till the next time they might or might not go to Wisconsin?
Right.
So the question becomes like, which model's better? I don't think there's an answer to that.
Right.
I think it's a challenging market no matter what, and you have to have boots on the ground to support your brand. And so if you want to invest in that as a national brand and come, I think you'll probably be successful as long as you have good product. And I think if you're a local brand, you want to invest in that, you can be successful if you have good product. And if you don't invest in those things, I think it's going to be a really hard road to hoe because there's other great beers and other people doing the work. And if you don't have people in market, you don't have people there to develop that relationship. You don't have a relationship, you can't sell.
Right.
So it's really, really important to have those active salespeople out there doing that as representatives, not just as being a sales guy, but being a representative of the brewery. So something I find in the industry that's kind of unique, and Brandon would probably know this, but what we do is we look for sales representatives. And what that means is that they have to go out and actively sell beer. In the industry, for some of the larger brands, you can be a brand representative. And basically what that means is you're going out there and being cool. Like you're representing the brand. You're not necessarily selling anything except for just being part of the brand. Usually you're giving away swag, stuff like that. And that exists too. Neither are bad. But it's very specifically different what the two activities are. And not to say brand reps don't sell anything. I'm just saying that what we typically have to look for is somebody who both needs to sell in because we're self-distro and can represent the brand. Some brands don't need that. They just need you to go out there and represent the brand. And so you have to be really careful about what type of job you're looking for and then what type of job you're hiring for. Because some people have different skills. Some people are really good at getting everybody to really want to hang out with you. Some people are really bad at getting you to say yes to buying it and bringing it in. It's a skill set. It's challenging one way or the other, but there are two different kinds of roles out there in market. Ours is a little bit more of both, and the other one's a little bit more of the other. So, and you can excel at either one or both. You can, but just be very careful. Like, what is the expectation of this role? Because I find that sometimes it can be.
That's a good thing to point out,
difficult.
because I see job opportunities online on social media all the time for like brand representative. Like you said, they're not necessarily selling the beer to the bars.
Right.
Like as a rep, I think me and Casey, we're doing both. We're wearing both those hats. And that's what the people at Back Pew are doing as well. But yeah, there are jobs where they just show up and do samplings at the grocery store, or they just do the events at the bars. That
Right.
the bar, a lot of these bars, like you said, require if they're gonna bring a beer, they'll be like, hey, can you just come by and host bingo for 2 hours and hand out some prizes, or
Right.
buy some beers, or give out some glassware or something.
They want to show that you're involved in their business,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so that isn't, like I said, neither is not important. It's just they do have kind of different expectations depending upon what you're asking your person to do. So those two things.
You see
You
that
have
more
to be
with
able to
the
do that.
distribution companies when they have distributions companies representing them, but they still want to have somebody out there
Some
representing
sort of
the
brand
Yeah.
ambassador.
But that's the important part, I think. If you start to throw that away, I think you're missing a large piece of what makes people go for an alternative product. Just doing digital marketing or putting your brand on something alone without a person. I mean, you'll never outbrand the big guys. They put their name on everything. Golf bags.
They give it
all
away
and they
for
give it
free.
all. I mean, they give it away. So you can't outspend them. They've got more money. So I mean, I think it's one of the biggest strengths you could want to have is your people out there making those relationships and getting people to know about your brand. And so it's really, really important. So anybody who tries to just put the beer out there, I think is going to just have it may not be the worst. I'm not saying it's a bad strategy. Maybe that beer doesn't need it. But I think it's just going to be a lot harder from what I've seen. I can't imagine doing it without people out there actively doing it. I think that would be really, really hard.
Yeah.
But again, not impossible. I mean, I guess if you maybe have the right branding, the right gear, I don't know. You know, it's, whatever it is, they figured out, not me, because I couldn't just do that. I wish that would be cool. Hey, we're gonna put all this beer in this store, and everybody goes, oh, "That's what I need to buy," and they all just go buy it. Like that would be excellent.
amazing.
I would if and maybe somebody else has figured out how to do that. But
I
think it's actually a lot of hard work.
It makes me think. I was looking at your social media before we started the podcast, and y'all are doing an event at North Park at the HEB where you're going to try to make Tanuki, I'm guessing, the #1 beer.
Oh yeah.
We're really looking at the brand family, like overall, because
Okay.
other people would be looking at the brand family as well, not like a single pack out unit. We kind of talked with the folks there about like what to kind of do. And overall, just we want the brand family to derive the most profit for the department in a single day. And so, and we're throwing down against, that includes your Michelob Ultras, your Shiner, your whatever.
When you
you're
say
gonna be there
brand
all
family,
day?
you're talking about like your like
So if you buy Blue or Tanuki, like anything under the Back
Any
Pew
Back
purview.
Pew
Yeah,
beers.
right.
And so the way that equates out, we have to sell about 100 units in a Friday. That's 100 6-packs. And so we're going to be there all day working on doing that. And I mean, the real goal would be to get to 120 because that assures it. Because
You said we. Is it Steven? Or are you going to be?
I'm going to be out there. Steven will be out there. We'll probably doing a little bit of rotating, so we'll just see what it takes. But we're hoping that the idea isn't just to do it, but I got to thinking about it and just kind of in a kind of frustrated way. But I didn't quite understand. There's a lot of really negative press. The only press I really see about craft beer this year has like been generally negative. This brewery's shutting down. People are drinking less. This, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And getting into that is difficult because there's a lot of layers to that onion to peel away as to maybe why some of that's truthful. Obviously, a brewery closing down is a brewery closing down. There's no layers to that. But there isn't anything that's really kind of on the upside of that. And there's never just bad news. There's like, it's impossible to just have bad news.
Right.
And so that's not what we see. I mean, we do see some of those things and they make our job harder from certain perspectives. And maybe some of those are explanations as to why. But I also know that we have a lot of really great local support. I also know some of these other things. And so this is kind of an experiment to say, hey, can we kind of, rouse the battlements to say, hey, let's go do this and make this really interesting thing happen.
Right.
Which is, I mean, yes, you're right. We're
it.
going to sell some beer for the weekend at one store. But the point is mostly just to say, hey, look, you can topple the big guys. The big guys are going to be there. They're going to produce, but it's not impossible for somebody else to come in and at least punch them in the nose for a day.
No, I
Just
love
for a
it.
day, yeah.
But it's all depends upon the local community.
But y'all
So-
even touched on that in the post that y'all posted a couple hours ago. Yeah, that touches on what you were just talking about. That says our mission, sell enough Back Pew beer in one day to be the #1 brand in the store and prove that craft beer is not dead. And then y'all kind of go on a further
Love that.
explanation of that. Why we see a lot of talk in the news lately about the interest of craft beer at an all-time low, but we don't buy it. We want to make a big splash, even just for a day, by bringing the craft beer community together and seeing that what kind of sales numbers we can achieve, ultimately beating the big brand domestic beers in sales.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Joe
I mean,
Biden thing happening with his
That's
flag.
the
I did, yeah. He
But
was-
so it's a pretty simple idea, but I think it's going to be kind of fun. I can tell you the store was certainly interested in trying to support it. It's
really cool.
Corporate doesn't know about it, but it would be really funny to get a call from San Antonio
Yeah.
The
about
post
what
looks-
did you do, and so
It's like a
it'll be
H-E-B
cool.
picture.
It'll be it's something fun to do, something fun to try. I think we're going to get the support for it. I hope we get the support for it. And so I think it's going to be just a fun experiment, and it will, to a large degree, show that craft beer isn't dead. There are alternatives. There's a lot of competing things happening, and there's a lot of things just happening in general, I think, out in the world that are making things a little bit different. But we were on a really meteoric rise for a long time, and anybody studying any kind of business cycle knows that doesn't continue forever.
Right.
So will you face a couple of years of where it doesn't look as good? Probably. The oil and gas business faces this on a reasonably routine basis. You'll have years where it's not
Right.
so good, and then it comes back around. So
Yeah.
all businesses have some kind of business cycle typically. This may have been us finally hitting one of those versus where we were basically on an exponential rise.
Yeah.
So, but in the interim, it doesn't mean that it stopped. And that's, you just read so many of those articles and you think, oh, well, just everybody quit.
What am I doing here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, so this is kind of just a very
That's
flat
why we started
example
this
to say.
podcast, man. Was
It's
to,
kind of-
like, put a light
That's a
on
lot of
something.
it, yeah, is to try to kind of put a spotlight. We really want to try to get more younger people involved.
We want to get younger people. You're doing a good job right now. This is a good time to get into the THC stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. But I do need to pee, so if you
Okay.
can go ahead and
Oh,
keep
no.
going. I'll just
Actually, I was going to ask you why he's peeing. Have you been to Final Gravity yet?
I have not, no.
No.
I don't get out too much.
I know. You're
so,
a busy
no.
guy.
I haven't made it over there, but hopefully those guys are doing well. I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them, to be quite honest. So I don't want to speak over my skis.
You're good. Yeah, no. I mean, me and Casey, we one of the reasons we started this, obviously, we're the Megaton and Brewery, Megaton and Deca are 5 minutes from each other, like in distance, and so we're kind of probably the most direct competition with each other. But that's not how we see it. We see there's a lot of love between the local breweries and the north side, Houston, and I feel like Back Pew, Megaton, Deca, Final Gravity. I feel like we have a really cool, unique craft beer community going on right here.
Yeah, we're in an area of some pretty intense growth at present, so it's really going to be interesting to see how that all filters down as times change, not in like a negative or positive way, but it's just amazing to be in a place where I feel like every time I drive up and down Sorters, I see more something happening. That can be positive or negative. Part of why we kind of came out here and why we were happy with our space is that we have room. We have space. And that likely will change a little bit one day. That could be very positive for our business, but it's also going to change how it looks. So we're glad we have as much space as we have here, because that's not going to go away. Like there's the San Jacinto's behind us. So, that's pretty awesome. But as far as supporting the number of breweries and continuing to grow, that should all be positive things toward those ends.
Mm-hmm. And I was at Megaton yesterday, and I was talking to Chris, and I was talking about doing this podcast today, and he started talking about all the awesome things in COVID you did to help out Megaton, which was really cool.
Well, I mean, it was a tough time. So if you had the opportunity or somebody was low on something, I mean, you could do it. You would take advantage. You would take advantage of that when you could. But there's only so much you could do. I mean, everybody was a little bit in a stressful moment during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Our industry was hurting. Ours wasn't the only one. Ours was hurting because of our customers' industry hurting. So it was a tenuous time, to be sure.
Okay, well, here's a good opportunity. Well, one of the things me and Casey really like, and something that's kind of new in the industry, is THC products. And we've loved what Eighth Wonder's been doing. And I mean, one of the things we've been preaching is way for craft breweries to survive in the atmosphere that we're in.
Yeah, jump on board.
Jump on board with THC because that's what the younger people are getting into right now.
But it's
They're not
also
drinking.
I'm here sometimes and I see even some of the boomer crowd drinking.
Oh, they're curious.
They're drinking the soda here.
But that's also a testament to the product you're making.
It's very good.
It's really good.
I'm glad you like it. The interest in THC beverages is intriguingly large. So people are enjoying the idea of it. Like I think it started probably with the CBD movement way back when. I'm certainly not a wellness person. Like I don't have a Reels channel that I talk about wellness issues on. But that seemed to be kind of the gateway into cannabinoids for people who felt safe enough because of the lack of any of the other after effects of the CBD. That has quickly catapulted itself into Delta 8, and then Delta 9 was shortly thereafter of actual THC variants.
That's what you're getting in your products.
Well, we use Delta 9 THC in our products,
which is THC.
That is the one that everybody's looking for. But it does provide an alternative, right? Like so, there's a lot of movements. The one that I think is actually one of the biggest drivers, and it bothers me to no end, is the fitness industry. There's so many reels and things like that on all of the social medias of people needing to just be absolutely jacked and ripped and things like that, and they're blaming alcohol as a one of the reasons. And I mean, it's not just the alcohol, but alcohol carries the vast majority of the calories in beer. Like so, if you make a light beer, say Hyper Light, 89 of the calories of the 95 calories is due to ethanol.
Really?
Okay.
So it's really ethanol's driving a lot of the caloric value of the residual in that beer because it's fermented out so low that there's not really carbs or anything left. And so I get kind of the idea, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I guess my viewpoint is like if you go out there and I'm a calories in, calories out, very basic kind of dude. And I'm not right. Anybody who wants to post on this, tell me that I'm wrong, go for it.
You're pretty physically fit though,
I'm
my
not.
friend.
I'm not out here trying to preach to anybody about that I'm right. But just that's generally the way I feel about it. However, looking at the trends and the other things like that, what we do know is that there is an upward trend in going to some of these cannabinoids, specifically Delta 9 types of drinks. They want to be social still, but they maybe don't want to drink alcohol. There's actually a lot of also people being recommended to stay off alcohol for various health reasons. And so the Delta 9 THC-based products are something they can still consume healthy and still have a little bit of fun. And from that perspective.
Honestly, what was it? The root beer that I was drinking?
You were drinking the root beer, I believe.
I like it better than like the AMW. What are the?
Oh, just like normal
regular
beers,
beer,
yeah.
Yeah, I like your root beer
It's
better
delicious.
than theirs. It's
good.
really
There's
like a creamy.
There's a
taste at the
vanilla
beginning.
component to both
yeah.
it and the Dr Pepper that are unique.
You got the
and
Dr.
different.
Pew Pew as well.
Yeah, we don't have Dr. Pepper. We have a spiced cherry cola. That's we just happen to call it Dr. Pew Pew because people like Pew Pews here in Texas.
Yeah.
But no, so it's a very interesting new market. It's opening up, and the numbers coming out of a younger generation, they're not picking up alcohol in the same fashion. It's just one of those things of culture. I think once they get out there and dig a few ditches or become a plumber, they'll quickly realize that roadie on the way home is pretty tasty. However, you have to listen. It's kind of like when a beer has to be retired. It's not because I just said, "Yep, I'm just done with that." Usually, numbers are kind of dictating that.
Like Lucy?
We let Lucy and Satyr Swill go this year, and I got some emails about it. Some very frustrated folks, which I appreciate that you were that passionate about those products. I mean, I was too. But when I sit there looking at the numbers to justify continuing to put that to market and the efforts that it takes to do so, we kind of needed to change our focus and try some different products. And so you have to do that from time to time. But that's driven by data.
I never asked this when I was working here, but I've always wondered because people asked me when I was working here. Did Lucy stand for Lucifer? No?
No, just a name.
It was just the name?
Just the name.
Okay.
Can art's awesome.
The can art is cool. It looks like a demon nun.
I mean, that's because of the kind of purpley aspect of that. When it was printed, it was kind of like it was just meant to be a nun. It was just kind of fun. The red lips. It was. I can't remember what the style the guys who came up with it, my creatives, said it was, but I just thought it was really bold artwork. I thought it was really cool. We just kind of couldn't.
I
get the
always
heft-
liked your artwork.
We just couldn't get the heft to quite work.
Who's your creatives? Who are the people that do that?
So it's the folks at Hierarchy. So I've been working with those guys for a long time. We actually first met at Shepherd Park Draft House. They were working for Love Advertising at the time, and we sat there and we were talking about it. And I remember the buyer at the time, her name was Kat. She just turned around. She goes, "What are you guys talking about?" I said, "Oh, I'm starting a brewery." And she goes, "Oh, well, don't forget about us. Everybody forgets about us because we're a small little bar." And that's why they ended up being one of our first 7 accounts.
Awesome.
So,
That's cool.
but so that we use them, and they've had between as a group, all the dudes have kind of go this way, that way. But when Devin Huey started Hierarchy, he was able to get a few of them back under their umbrella. So overall, somebody by and large from that group has probably been part of our artwork almost the entire time, which is cool. Keeps a little bit of consistency,
Right.
As well as we've been trying. Well, once we got away from the original can art, we're giving each brand kind of its own identity, which has been, I think, really beneficial.
Yeah.
I really like the Chola artwork.
That's a fun one. They didn't do that one. That was an artist off the West Coast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we saw. He actually did the girl that is the Chola. He did it for something else, and her tattoos were all West Coast themed. And so we asked him if he could, commission the same girl but do it all Houston. So if you look at all our tattoos, it's all Houston, 45 stuff
cool.
like that.
That's awesome.
So he redid the artwork with Houston themed tattoos, which is
cool.
really cool.
That's neat.
So it's a lot of fun. But we don't do that. Most of the artwork you see, core branded stuff. Like I think they did a really killer job with the Son of Seder artwork. I think that turned out really well. The Texas Two Sip's a lot of fun. Unbeknownst to them, when I first saw the first thing on it, looked like the I-59, I-69 badging. And they're like, "Oh, we didn't mean that." I was like, "Well, it works because people drive here. They'll look at that shape and know exactly what it means."
Right.
So it was a lot of fun. So they've helped come up with a lot of these brands.
I'm going to ask because I want to take it back to THC. You've talked to me last week about possibly bringing the THC products to market. Are you already thinking about artwork for that?
We're working on it. We're going to probably just do a retro soda kind of look. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I've just been kind of thinking, but I think retro soda appearance is about right.
I love retro. That sounds
I think
neat.
that's
So
cool.
it should be pretty rad, but keep it. It's going to have kind of its own brand. We're still working through all of the difficulties of that because managing one brand is a lot, and so then having to introduce a new one. But I think it makes the most sense to do it that way. Since it will be kind of something independent to one degree. I mean, it's brought to you, sure, by Back Pew. We're going to be making it. Our guys are going to be repping it. But
Are you saying it won't have the Back Pew logo on it?
Not currently. The intention's not to. It's not like Back Pew's THC soda. Like that's.
You don't have a name circling in your head that you're thinking about?
No, we do have a name. We think we're going to call it HH Soda Co. Standing for Hello Houston, the hashtag.
That's cool.
And so we think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To blend
Love
in with
Houston,
that.
yeah.
But
I love silly
we'll just
soda,
kinda
but
see.
that's much better.
Well, we wanted silly soda, but there's a trademark on it, so we can't use
really?
it. So that's why we had to change it.
Oh, okay.
I just thought, silly soda makes so much sense, but there is a small soda manufacturer who has trademarked silly soda, and after a little investigation, should they get frustrated with it, we would be screwed. So I was like, well, we can't invest in a brand that even if it's so unrelated, you have to really watch that. You have to do that in beer big time. So I've learned, you have to watch your lessons. It's the same lesson there.
Have you got any C&Ds that are cool to talk about?
Oh, we got to talk about the Hyperlight thing.
Oh, yeah.
We got Hyperlight. So we had a different creative group for a moment who thought it would be a great idea to do Back Pew Ultra. And I was
just like the Michelob Ultra can.
not just like it, but it was close. It used red, white, and blue. There was some designs that they showed us that were pretty close, and they assured me that there was nothing they could do about that.
It was the same day,
I was
right?
like, I'm pretty sure that they have that specifically trademarked, and them and their lawyer said, nope, this should be fine. And so we put out a post on social media, and very shortly thereafter, I got a call from a legal group representing AB and Buff. Next day, I think.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
And they were like, yeah, so we understand that you're going to be doing this Back Pew Ultra beer, and we'd like to talk about that. And I said, no, we're not. We're not doing that. That was an idea that went south. They were like, oh, that's excellent news, because that's, this is the best thing that we could hear. So
Did you decide in that moment you weren't?
no, I was on the fence about it because I didn't get it. I was like, okay, we want to do this light beer, but really? It also just didn't make a lot of sense to me that you couldn't. So I just couldn't buy into the idea that you could just take somebody else. Like, that's Michelob Ultra.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get it.
It's actually cheaper than Michelob Ultra, isn't it?
Michelob Ultra, Shiner's more expensive than most craft beer right now, which is amazing because it's a lot cheaper for them to make it. But But yeah, so it was a very fast. I mean, I never really. The minute I got that call, I was more than certain I was right. That didn't make any kind of sense, and so we had to change it up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was just kind of, and that was the end of using those guys anyway, because I was like, I spent all this time talking about this potential product, telling you that this couldn't happen. How much else have you been wrong about?
Right.
So that didn't work out. But sometimes you have to make some decisions. You try to make the best ones you can with what you know at the time, and sometimes it doesn't work out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish everyone was a home run. But
Was that the only one you got? The only
No, we got a cease and desist on Perrin. So when we originally did our seasonal oatmeal stout, I designed it because I'm a huge Wheel of Time fan. Perrin's an excellent
He's got
character
like
in Wheel
4
of
beers
Time.
named after Wheel of
Yeah,
Time.
we've done a lot of, and the next Canto is another Wheel of Time themed beer. But yeah, so we did that because I was like, that's what I like to drink when it's cool. A nice 5.5% oatmeal stout, something chewy. Because I figured, Perrin, after a day of the forge, if you're a blacksmith, what do you want after that? You want something that's got some meat to it. You want something that tastes great. It's got those roasty notes, nothing overbearing though. And there's a Perrin Brewing somewhere, I think Michigan or something, or Wisconsin maybe. Oscar Blues owns a controlling stake in that. So I had a phone call from them because they were going to bring Perrin Brewing to Texas. And so there was going to be a conflict. They have not done that. And so I had to quit using it, even though they haven't done their piece of it. Like they didn't have. So I looked at it while I was talking to her. I was like, "You don't have any label approval." She's like, "That can't be right. We surely have done that." I was like, "Nope." But they're big with a lot of money, and I am not.
What's the name now?
Well, after they let us run through the marketing materials we had, so we ran through the cans and stuff that were out there, and they had to go. Then the feedback we got was that most people in Houston wanted an Imperial version, not so much the lower ABV version like I kind of was thinking. So the next year we did Ibarra, which is his last name, and that's an Imperial oatmeal stout, and that has gone over pretty well.
I love that beer.
And then this next beer that we did is going to be even bigger version. It's like 10.5. No, I think it came out to 11 maybe. But
It's the new Ibarra?
That's the Wolf Stream.
Wolf Stream.
That's what went into the barrels. We got some really lovely barrels, and that's what the next Canto is going to be.
Nice. You don't want to say what barrels?
They are Willet.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that'll be really cool.
That's
so we're
2
really excited
podcasts in a
about
row
that.
talking about Willet Bourbon Barrel.
So that'll be really cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's
You're-
fun.
by the way, we haven't mentioned-
Sorry, they're Weller. Weller.
Weller,
Not Willet.
okay.
Yeah, they're Weller.
We haven't mentioned this is episode number 15.
15.
15. We've done 15 of these, Bobby.
Cool.
Yeah, we just like a couple weeks ago we did Frosttown, and they had a beer that they had acquired from Ingenious as they were closing. That it was it's an Imperial Stout brewed in it was conditioned in a Willet bourbon barrel. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That'd be rad.
Yeah. It was cool.
We tried that, right?
We did. We said
Yeah.
we had some beers that day. We did.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of beers, we're drinking right now.
Hofbrau.
The what is it?
Kingsbrow. Sorry.
Kingsbrow.
Sorry. I did that right.
This
in
is
front of you.
your fest beer. You do a fest beer.
Yeah, we do a fest beer. So fest beer, there's 2 different styles that you're going to find in the Oktoberfest world of beers. The one that's been there traditionally and that you find the most is a style called a Marzen. It's kind of a dark amber colored lager, almost to brown at times, usually classified kind of almost having a nutty character to it. And that was the Oktoberfest style for a long time. And classically, that was the Oktoberfest style. It was a Marzen because it was brewed in March and it was lagered all the way theoretically until
That's what
Oktoberfest.
Martin means, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, the Munich brewers got together and kind of said, Marzen, great and all, but fills you up too much. We're here for all day drinking, looking for Oktoberfest. So they came up with the Fest beer, Golden Straw, hay-colored lager, 6.3% or so, and ours is at the top end of that. It's early enough. That's what they want. And even though my understanding is you go to Oktoberfest, you see a lot of their normal stuff, normal lagers and things like that. But that's where it came from. And when I hadn't done an Oktoberfest style beer for Oktoberfest just because I felt the market gets very inundated with it.
Very.
And then I said, well, let's go ahead and do it because that's kind of in our wheelhouse of doing lager beers. And I decided on the Fest beer because most of them are Marzens. So let's be a little different from that perspective and do that. And I think that's really done well for us. And I'm really happy with that decision. This year, we actually are also doing a Marzen to market that will come out in September just as a rotator. Not a lot, but it's going to be really tasty. So you can kind of see the difference because both are tasty. But I just feel that since we have to, the market dictates that we put this out at the beginning of August or else you miss your boat.
Yeah.
You said the Marzen's going to be on the market?
Yep, we're gonna send it out this year.
A little small bit of it.
Yeah, not a lot, but we're gonna send it out there. It's really tasty. So when you see it, certainly pick it up. It's gonna be our kind of new generic German lager.
Oh, Kyle's gonna walk into Heights Beer Garden. We're gonna try it that more than Marshall does.
I'm sure that will happen.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be really nice. But we're almost out of Kingsborough actually here, which is great. So it's gone
that's a
really
good problem
well.
to have.
So you can run out potentially before your Oktoberfest event.
Oh, I've squirreled a couple kegs away.
Yeah, you saved some,
okay.
obviously.
Well, I
but-
had to. I've gotten in that habit of I pull a couple to start just because it does go. It's probably our top selling rotator, which I'm really stoked about because it's really tasty.
Good. Yeah.
More than Hopzuna?
Probably. I mean, just because it's got a bigger price point to it and it's a bigger beer, so it goes a little bit further.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit more just like generally accessible, which is nice. And it's just really great. Yeah, lager beer, beautiful lager beer, in my opinion, is meant to be drank. Like you can drink lager beer.
That's
Hopzuna,
your favorite type
Trying
of
to
beer.
slam a bunch of Hopzunas would be really challenging. Like if
You're
you do
not wrong.
Oktoberfest with Hopzuna, you wouldn't make it through Oktoberfest, I don't think. So that's the difference. Whereas with lager beers, they're often designed so that way you can do what you do at
threaten me with a
Oktoberfest
good
all
time.
day.
I'm just thinking from the perspective is when I did sales here. I just remember Hopzuna flew.
Really?
It does. It certainly does well, but again, it's just such a bigger beer. It takes a little bit longer to burn through. Whereas this one is just so much. Plus, it's seasonal, so people are getting into the Oktoberfest hype.
Yeah.
So you kind of play on that a little bit.
And you're the Oktoberfest brewery.
I mean, we hope so. We
Yeah.
try to be. It's something that we're very proud of and love doing. We think it's a lot of fun. Plus, you get to dress up, and since we're giant nerds, we love dressing up for reasons.
A little cosplay.
So add that into the mix, and it's a good day.
So I want to know what your opinions are about releasing everything so early in advance. Like I know St. Arnold's one of they put their stuff out so far in advance, and I a lot of times think it's attributed to just wanting to get your shit out there so that you beat everybody to the punch. And maybe to make sure that you're not holding on to that inventory by the time you get to November, December. I'm trying to figure it out because by the time Oktoberfest is over is about the time we have the proper weather for those types of beers. So I just want to know what you think about that.
I mean, there's a lot of attributing factors to that from our industry perspective. Part of it is what our consumers when they're pulling it, and so people are getting in the mindset of it because Oktoberfest is really in September, like really. So. But in September, the way our school falls and everything else, I mean, there's just a lot of elements to it that kind of throw that around. Here in the U.S. at least, when you get to October, people are thinking of Halloween, thinking about pumpkins. And at the beginning of October is when the Halloween stuff starts to go away and they bring out Santa. So
We're all messed up.
So it's really just it's difficult to
playing
really
into that
just,
market.
It's really hard to just say like that's when. I feel like you could be a little bit later, but you always have to be a little bit ahead of when your consumers are going to look for it, so that way they can find it.
Yeah.
Like if you come out after they've already been through it, with the way that things are so in front of your face and out of it, it's very, very fast moving industry. Ours, everybody's. It's just to keep people's attention is difficult because somebody else is trying to get it as well. And so if you miss your chance when they're in the mindset of it, you probably have missed your chance.
That happened to me last year, where we had a great Marzen and we just didn't have it until like the end of August, and that was a big fail because we had. So I said this year I think we had it before Back Pew, our Marzen out. Yeah. But I love your fest beer. I'm sorry, the Kingsbrow.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about the King of the Hill beer, and
King of the Hellas, yeah.
And what is it, King of the Hellas?
Yeah, King of the Hellas.
I wanted to ask how well that did this year with the
it
revival
slammed
of the
it.
show.
It worked out perfect. We didn't do a lot of it because it was right after the Kolsch. But the Kolsch cleared out so fast. It was kind of that in my back pocket of like we've got this thing, and it was great that I did because the Kolsch did clear out so fast because it was delicious. And had a really great really great branding on that. And so then I kind of had that. I was like, this would be really fun to put out just right before it comes back.
The show,
and it worked out really well.
Are you a fan of the show?
Yeah, I mean, like I grew up with Bobby. I mean, Bobby Hill.
Yeah.
It certainly came out many a times in school. So that was
Damn it,
certainly relatable.
Y'all did a picture of all y'all, and that's the art on the can. But you also did an actual picture of y'all.
I think we did. We physically took a picture in very like in that setting against the fence, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. It's a fun beer to do. It's a great little beer, and it's just like a fun project to do. It's I think it's very obviously the artwork style and everything is very notable. People get it, and people especially in Texas see it. And so it is a lot of fun.
Do you think that people actually buy that beer based on the
Yes.
can art sometimes?
I would think so. That's
Yeah.
what HEB stewards have told me. They're like, it's
Yeah.
just the artwork. I was like, you don't think the beer's any good? They're like, it's fine.
Sampling
They're like,
that
yeah, it's
beer
good,
and
but
selling
still.
that beer, yes, they
Yeah.
bought it because of the artwork.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
So since you've been around you guys have been here for how long now?
Let's see. We started in 2015.
Okay. So, yeah. So, what kind of advice could you give to other breweries that are kind of new and up and coming that want to get into a little bit more distribution, kind of like in the maybe in the direction that you kind of guys are
I mean,
at?
it's hard work, man. You just have to get out there and do it. Like it's relationships, just
Yeah.
like everything else about the industry. If you spend any time in service, you know it has a lot to do with relationships, and this is no different. There's no easy button to do this.
Right.
You have to really be careful, and you have to watch. I mean, you have to watch what you're doing. Unless you are just absolutely flush with cash, you have to be very careful because there's a lot of easy ways to spend a lot of money in doing distribution and sales because people will ask a lot of you, and it's very frustrating because the worst thing you can ever tell a customer really is no. Like you don't want to tell a customer no. But there's also the reality of sometimes you have to. And so that's very difficult. It's difficult to toe that line, whether it be in the tap room, whether it be if you're doing sales and market. So you have to massage situations in such a way that you try to do the best you can to get them to where they want to go. But if it's going to be at a huge detriment, of course you're going to do some things that maybe are not in your best interest all the time, and that's okay. But that means that on the flip side to that, you got to figure out, well, what am I going to get on the other side? And it's awful to say, like, you just think about it that way, but you can't ignore it because if you're a small business, you need the revenue. So if you want me to come in and do all these things, that's great. I need you to buy some things. And, you're working on less than, maybe by the time you cook it all home, if you're working on 20% margin, you're doing really, really well. I mean, if you just look at raw ingredients, everybody goes, oh, there's so much money to be made in beer. Not really, but then there's a lot of costs that go into it, and you have to account for all of that.
All of it, yeah.
So if you look at that, if you're doing 20%, you're doing great. Say you're operating on 10%. Calculate how much a bar is making on a pint of beer, 450, 500%. It's up to them to just make sure they move that fast enough. Of course, they have the same problem, but on that pint, for what you purchase it for, you're making a large multiple on that. So bringing the product in and trying to get it out, I'll do some activities to help you move it. But I mean, you stand to make a lot more on Delta on this as long as you have people coming in and are selling it than I do have you purchasing it for me.
Yeah.
So let's work together to where you can bring it in and I'll help you move it, and that'll be good for both of us because you're bringing it in. That helps me. You selling it out helps me because you'll buy more, and then you're making money, and everything's cool.
Everybody's happy.
So that's how we have to do it because we can't fight the big guys on money. If it's just a spend issue, which it is, I don't care who listens to this. It's a dirty industry. We can't play that.
Yeah.
We just can't. So anybody who asks us to play games like that, I'm flat out, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We're not in that house. We don't have that kind of cash. So. That's just the nature of the beast. If that's your driving goal is that you want the payout and the under the table money, go with the people who will do that. But we cannot do that.
Free rodeo tickets.
You have to be really big to do those things.
So do you think that, because you guys, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but you guys have a lower price point for a lot of your stuff that's going out in the market than generally a lot of the other breweries, and so
You do. You have a very competitive, probably the most competitive price.
It's what I feel that the beer should be priced at.
Yeah.
fair enough.
That's what that's all the numbers in my opinion work out that way. Sometimes it gets a little frustrating when I see my pint prices because they're matching other people's and I know they paid significantly less for our kegs.
Yeah.
But I don't get to pick that.
Right.
The customer picks that. So that's not you have to at a certain point you would be ignorant. I would be ignorant to say that I haven't considered those things. I have considered those things. But to a certain degree, you have to also live like this is what I feel that we should charge for this product, based on everything I know about what it costs me to do it, what it's going to cost my customer to buy it, and how they're going to sell it, the type of product. This is where I think we should be. Not to say you don't want to know what the market's charging. You need to know that because the market is going to drive that regardless. Like if you go look at HEB, we're still at $8.99 for most of our products. That's done because it's been there a long time.
Yeah.
Is Hyperlight still $7.49?
It's still $7.99. Yeah,
$7.99,
so
okay.
it's still there because those prices were set, and HEB is leaving them there, and all of our pricing is there. Me increasing it would trigger a change.
Right.
They
Yeah,
also
it's too late
have
now.
new pricing models now that would likely, like I think Son of Seder sits at like $9.39. Most of those products would be there too. But if you look at the majority of the shelf, that's craft beer. It's sitting at like $9.99 for just a normal 6-pack. Again, that has to do with them and how they price it and what they, and there's a lot of competing things. I'm not telling you they're wrong, but everybody has their overheads, their costs, everything else that they have to figure out. Here's what I have to charge to make this a worthwhile endeavor. And I just think an $8.99 6-pack makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that's where we sit with. And so our goal then has to be, if I'm not going to increase price, we have to increase volume. So it relies upon our customers going out and buying the product. Because if that doesn't happen, then we're going to have to change the brand.
Yeah.
And when we go to change the brand, reevaluating that likely will recall, because now you're putting money into a new brand development and things like that. We probably will be up there with everybody else like that. But because we're using our existing brands that I believe in, that we're pushing, we can stay there until something crazy hits, like, I don't know, giant change in aluminum pricing, something like that, which we've been able to avoid thus far.
That's good.
So, if those things do start to come in, there's nothing I can do about that, because that's not something I can control. Right. That's coming to me, and I can't just take that and have that competitive of a price. And also just, eventually you go, I can't do that. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see.
I haven't been in the grocery store recently, to be honest. But I'm wondering, have other craft brewery prices gone up? You're saying yours is the same. Or other beers are going up in price?
Yeah, there's a theory, and it's likely reasonably accurate. It's got some good data backing it up, that customers buying these types of products are reasonably price indifferent. So if you go up 50 cents this year, they're not really going to bat an eye. You go up 50 cents next year, not really going to bat an eye. So overall, that price creep, I think, has come into it a little bit. I a little bit disagree. You're looking at a really complex economic situation when you say something like that. At certain times when things are up, I agree. People probably are very price independent. But then, say you have a downturn, like Houston specifically, you have a downturn in oil and gas, I would say people become very price sensitive.
Yeah.
And they're going to start using that as a decision point.
Absolutely.
However, we don't price it to just be a budget brand or anything like that. It's just, that's what I feel the price should be on the shelf.
Are you going to do any 19.2s?
No, the stovepipes are cool. But I guess just drinking one beer, I've never encountered that problem. And so I don't want one.
I usually buy two.
So, it's kind of like, again, if it's something I want to drink, I'll take a 6-pack. So I get the idea of the grab and goes, but for us, I think, to some degree, one piece of it could be I'm looking for alternative packaging sizes to get more shelf space. If you look at what Miller and Bud have done, they have an 18-pack, a 12-pack, a 24-pack, of this pack, pack, and they do that to get so much real estate.
Right.
Do they really need that many different versions of Miller Lite when it's all the same beer? Do they need 6-packs of cans and 6-pack of bottles? And do they need the 16-ounce 6-packs and the 12-ounce 6-packs? Probably not, but it looks really good and you can find it really easily, right?
Yeah.
So it's a really great thing to vie for.
I'm going to pour us one last beer.
So part of having all those different pack sizes and amounts is just to get more shelf space. And if they sell to the right degree, they're going to stay in. So when you think about doing a 19.2 or a this pack or a that pack, and alternative sizes, even if it's the same product, that's part of your goal. And that's great, because if you go deliver, you can deliver like 2 different things instead of one, even though it's the same product. But thinking about what you focus on, and I'm like I said, I like things basic and I like to focus because I feel that you can perform better when you focus. Here's kind of our formats that we're going to push. Here's the things that we're going to do, and we're going to go out there and do them well. And that's how I want my guys to think about. And that's what I want to think about. That's what I want my guys to think about. Not to say that the other strategy is wrong. That's just the one I've chosen. And so we want to focus on those things. So for instance, like our alternative pack would be, say, a 16-ounce 4-pack. When we do hazy doubles or, say, Gabagool or Me Beer or some of those other random things, Ibarra, it's fun to do the 16-ounce 4-pack, but that would be kind of our alternative pack.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like that's what we would do. And that's okay.
Thank you, brother.
And so just, again, I think you have to choose kind of like, here's the things I'm going to invest in, here's the things I'm going to focus on and build on, and you have to pick. Could you do a million different pack sizes and pack out times? Yes. But each time you do that, you have new sales points, new things that you have to inventory. So you are adding cost to that as well. It's not free. So why not focus on going out there and hammering the things that you could do really, really well, and continuing to hopefully get your people behind you from that perspective. So just relying on like a different pack size of Tanuki or something, I feel that us focusing on it that way. Now, that's just the grocery store talking. You could say, well, what about concert venues and things like that, where they, 19.2s have become the king because you can go and get 19.2 and carry around. It used to be 16s, now the 19.2s have taken over.
What about for
We're
THC products?
Well, I mean, maybe. So far, I think the industry's a little too young to know exactly what's gonna make itself out.
Right. Yeah. We're still learning.
So we're gonna have to let our consumers tell us a little
Still
bit
figuring
about
out what the
want.
laws are going to be too.
Well, they don't know. Getting into that, we can't talk about that because nobody
knows.
Nobody
so, but no, the consumers are going to have to tell us, like, how are you going to want to consume this product? Is a 19.2 too much? Is it the right amount? Like, so, with our model, by going into the sodas, the typical purchase size is a 12-ounce can,
Yeah.
24-pack of a 12-ounce can. So if you're going to enjoy that product in a similar fashion, you take a 16-ounce pint glass, put ice in it, pour your 12 ounces on top of it. That's very comfortable, and I think it'll work out really well because the part of the point of that is to be comfortable,
Right.
And so I think it'll be very relatable. It'll feel comfortable. It'll feel right, and then you'll get a buzz. And so I think that works from that perspective. There are some alternatives going into the THC realm in terms of the sizing and dose rates associated with those different sizes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's going to be an interesting game. If you do a 19.2, are you just going to call it rocket fuel and make it a 50 milligram per 19.2 ounce serving?
I just had a 60 milligram though. We had a 60 milligram.
We tried.
Moon
We
Tower.
sampled. Yeah.
We sampled.
It was awful, by the way.
I can tell you.
I had
absolute-
like a shot of it.
So you could probably expand on this a lot better because I just learned recently because I wanted to know more about what does 3% by dry weight mean. So I kind of listened to some podcast stuff and tried to gain some information on it. So it's basically when you get rid of and correct me if I'm wrong, get rid of all the liquid out of this drink. Say this is a THC beverage. The liquid's gone. You're left with the dried sticky stuff, right? The 3% of that. You look at it.
Well, it's 0.3% by weight.
0.3%. Sorry,
it's
sorry,
0.3%.
not 3%.
But the liquid
Sorry.
counts because that's how you get there. Because
But it says by dry weight.
350. It's not supposed to be by weight. Package weight was my understanding when I read it. And so if you have a 355 milliliter can, 12 ounce can, 355 grams of that will likely be water because it's 1 gram per milliliter. And then you have, your can weighs so much and all that stuff. So you have to back calculate it. It ends up working out to about 5 milligrams of that can be in a 12 ounce serving.
Okay, but
That's to be shipped. That doesn't mean you can't make one that's more.
Right.
But the federal
Legally.
law for shipping it is 0.3% by weight.
But if you say you want to up the dosage, you want to up it to 10, 15, 20%, 60%, does that mean you have to add more additives, more sugar, more anything
You
else?
could do it however you want to do it, but really at the end of the day, the big goal, right, is the 0.3% or greater. You're looking at the milligrams per liquid serving. I mean, that's what, for you as a consumer, that's what you should care about. Because if I'm going to consume the same 12 ounces, but if I go from 5 to 10 milligrams, I took twice as much Delta-9 THC in my system in the same amount of time it took for me to consume that liquid, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I up that to 20, you can see how this can easily catapult yourself into the stratosphere and you become a space cadet,
Right.
As Stoner Gump likes to say. Shout out to Stoner Gump. I don't even smoke weed or consume these products, but he's hilarious.
Good disclaimer.
And so, and he also gives some great advice as far as I can tell. But anyway, you have to be careful with him. You have to respect him because it's just like anything else. It's going to do something to you. So where do people want to be? We don't know. Where people want to be based on the feedback I've gotten, and of course, obviously, anybody listening can say where they would like to be with this product, is they want to enjoy a time out like other people, but they are trying to stay away from alcohol for whatever reason. And so they still want to have a good time. They still want to get a little bit of a different feeling, but they want to hang out. Just looking to go to the moon, there's a lot of other ways to do that, legally or otherwise, and they already employ those means when they're looking to do those types of things. So that's not really what I think the answer this kind of product's trying to answer. I think this product's trying to answer more of a social-based inebriation, as it were, where you can stay on par but still have a little bit of fun, like if you were to go out and have a couple beers. And I think that's what they're looking for. So the dose rate that you get to there, I think 5 milligrams is a really happy one based on us kind of sampling some out.
It does the same thing a beer does. If you drink multiple beers, you're going to feel something. If you drink multiple of these drinks,
but
you're
even
going to
at
feel
10 milligrams, when we first started doing it, we
Oh,
were
you
doing
feel
10
it.
milligrams. It got there really quickly.
Yeah.
And then you end up having one.
Oh, we know.
I do think if you're a daily user though, which I am,
Yeah.
you notice those effects wear off a lot faster than alcohol does. So I have to kind of drink quickly. If I really want to get that nice THC buzz, I have to feel like I drink quickly of a 5%. The 10%, I will say the first weekend that I think it was on tap, maybe the second weekend.
We did the 10s, yeah.
I was here. I was working with Dennis on the bus here.
Oh, promote your music bingo
And,
real quick.
I will. I just want let me finish this thought. But I had about 5 of those 10%. The when you first put them out, I had about 5 of them, and I was feeling great. I had a great time.
You were.
But I'm also somebody that uses this every day.
Yeah.
So I said back then, I was like, this is something that I can see maybe be getting dialed down, because if it's making me feel this good, imagine what it's doing to somebody who's not used to having this in their system. So I knew that was coming. I just didn't think it was going to come so quickly. I'm a
You
little
don't think
sad,
you could do it like in a
but
Saint
I
and Sinners
understand.
way? I think I asked you this last week.
I mean, I
where
think
you have
there's
lower and higher.
We're going to have to see what the market is asking for.
Yeah.
And that's the tricky part, is what is the market going to want to ask for? Are they going to want? Are there enough users that want that? Because I know quite a few people who like to imbibe into the Lord's lettuce.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna be great for your Beatle concerts.
But they have a methodology and a tried and true passion for how they do it. They're going to drink a few beers. They're going to go and have a little bit of the Lord's lettuce. They're going to drink a few beers, and so they have.
That's what I do.
It's kind of it's the
Go
hangout,
between.
and so there's a different kind of social aspect to that, but you can't do it out in the open. And so this is kind of an out in the open version of that. That is, whether it's been completely accepted or not, that can be debated. I'm not trying to say that, but I think that's what this is trying to answer: is how do you bring those two things together in a social way? Similar, alcohol has been accepted. It's only a matter of time till the other one's accepted, and so how do you bring those together?
I think you're a very intelligent person, and I think you could see the writings on the wall for this, that this is coming, and you're ahead of the game. And
Yeah.
I
We'll
think
see. We hope so. We hope people like it.
I personally think that there's a room for a 5% and a higher, and basically you have to just market that. I would personally, if I were marketing something like that, I would definitely be like, this is more for your beginner. This is for your somebody who does this.
The other big one, the products that we're going to put out to start with, all use very legible ingredients. Like the sugar, we use sucrose. That's your normal white sugar. We're not using weird other chemicals.
It is very sweet, but it is delicious.
But it's supposed to be. It's like it's real soda,
Soda,
right?
yeah.
And then we just dose it with the appropriate amount of Delta 9.
does that mean you have a bunch of weed back there?
Well, no, I don't deal with it. I let somebody else do the distillate.
Yeah, so you have to, right? By law, that's part of the deal, right?
What?
You're licensed to purchase this product. But
I can buy the distillate. Yes, I'm
but
not
you
licensed
can't
to make the distillate.
To make it, right?
Okay.
Right.
And so, but another big outcry that we've been asked for is a non-caloric version, because sugar delivers a lot of calories, and so we're looking at doing a sugar substitute type product, where it'd be a 0-calorie version of the same thing. I don't like a lot of the alternative sugar sweetener products.
Boo. Yeah.
But we're going to try one. The one that I feel most comfortable with is like a stevia type product. So we're going to try that. It will have a different flavor just because it's not going to sweeten the same way as sugar. But I think it'll still be really quality. As long as it's a quality product, we'll probably be looking at putting that one out as well for people who are looking for that 0-calorie type of version. But
Very cool.
as far as being tasty, I think that the original full sugar version is a really great option.
Fantastic.
Can I also, on that note, say this Sunna Seder? This is my first time ever trying Sunna Seder. It's very tasty.
Really?
Yes, I haven't had it. Yeah,
I love Bob's.
I was a big fan of the original Seder. What was that? Like
Seder
6.5,
Swill, 7.2.
7.2.
And that was the primary problem and why we switched, is we had a lot of outcry from people saying, I really love the beer, but I get really too drunk.
I can only have
too
one.
fast, because it's really easy to drink.
Wow.
And
What's the
that was
percentage on
case.
this?
4.5.
4.5.
So we had to shrink it, but the problem with it becomes just like with designing anything. When you have a lot of alcohol in a product, you have a really big base in your pyramid to design something really cool, so you can go really, really high. Well, now you shrink it and you want to put just as much flavor in it, it's going to topple over because you're imbalanced. And so your beer would be very odd to drink on a regular basis. So we did have to do some slight variations to it. I mean, I had to. It's not like direct formulation, just cut the alcohol out. But I do think it stood up to it. It still has a lot of really great flavor. Still decocted. Still done like a traditional German lager. It's just smaller. And so that's, like I said, with Lucy and Saders, we got a lot of emails about how I can't believe you got rid of it. My favorite beer, things of that nature. Well, so we're going to be doing a batch of Saders in September to come out late in September. So those
cool.
of you looking
So
for
it'll be
Saders,
seasonal now.
There you go.
we'll do it every now and again. We will be doing some Saders Swill
Will
back.
Lucy be a seasonal as well?
She's in the fermenter right now, actually. So
Okay.
we're gonna put a little bit of that out, just for fun, and also
for
have it in the tap
Oktoberfest?
room.
So
We
it
won't
might
have a
not
tap
just
room.
be once a year seasonal like you do a lot of things. It might occasionally pop up.
It really just depends, but we have so much fun stuff on a seasonal basis that,
Yeah.
or a rotational
You have
basis.
a lot of great beers. A lot of beers I like to
Broke
revisit.
myself. I gotta go.
Yeah, no worries.
You what?
Your camera's got you.
We're getting at the end of this anyways, and he didn't stop the mic, the camera, so it's,
That's okay.
Now it's all pointed weird. No, I really do appreciate you letting us come down here to Back Pew and set up. And
Sure.
one of the things that I feel like one of the characters in every podcast is the brewery itself. So if you're watching the podcast now, you're seeing everything at 4K for the first time. We've been doing this since February, the first week of February.
Okay.
And we've been doing it every 2 weeks, except we did Frosttown and New Magnolia back to back.
Okay.
And I bought these Mevo cameras that were wireless. It was a much smaller setup, but I could never get 4K out of them because they
okay.
were wireless. And it's really cool seeing the cameras move around and the AI and stuff. So it's really cool because you can really see the vibe of Back Pew. And
Good.
We got in here an hour. It's about an hour before y'all are opening.
Yeah, you can see Tacey and Chris running around right now, getting
Yeah.
everything ready for everybody who's going to come out and drink some beers tonight. So
Y'all doing a big thing tonight?
It's Friday, so yeah. I mean, it's time to drink beer.
Yeah.
I have a few things left to do, and then it'll be me drinking some beers, but which is why I'm not now. But no, it's Friday, so what the hell? I mean, it's a great day to drink beer. I've found that you can drink beer when it's cold or when it's hot, when it's raining, and when it's sun. I've done a lot of experimentation, and any of those conditions really work pretty well.
Yeah. You know what? I've also maybe not as well thought out, but I've done all that too.
Yeah, it turns out it
And I like
goes
drinking beer.
really well. And so,
Yeah.
but I mean, with Fridays are a good day. Just understandably in the service industry, Fridays are always a really nice day.
Yeah.
So hopefully we have a nice crowd out today. It looked like it was going to kind of downpour on us, and then it just randomly went away. Houston, meteorologist,
Yeah.
it's going to rain
It
a
was-
lot.
it was
Well,
dripping
actually,
a
you're not
second
going to
ago.
really get
Today?
anything. Just in general, yeah.
Yeah, or in general, yeah.
Are you going to take my camera?
Oh, it's your camera.
Yeah, that one's
not
mine.
taking Casey's
It's trying
Go
to
fix
find
your
me.
camera.
It's trying to find me. Hi, camera. Oh, I can't do that. Then it's going to turn off.
It's not how it works, Casey. But I guess it will work for the time being.
It should work.
We're fine. Oh,
It's not going to do it.
it won't.
Did I do something wrong?
We're good.
It's going to
Is
be
it
fine.
We're at the end of this thing anyways.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So I got one more question for you, really.
Okay.
Top 5 breweries other than Back Pew in Houston.
I mean, I'm not a person to ask. I work here. I basically live here, and then I'm doing daddy stuff now. So I'm not a good person to ask.
Yeah, come on.
I can't. I don't go to them. I can't tell you what they are because it's not because I
answer
don't.
honestly. Like, is that-
How can I give you a real honest answer if
Right.
I haven't tried them?
Yeah,
so
yeah. Fair enough.
And it's not that I don't want to. It's just it turns out taking a toddler to breweries oftentimes is difficult.
I'm going to change the question.
You know.
Just to make it, I'm giving you an exception because I know you live here, and I know you you have no free time.
No.
Top 5 breweries. Other than Back Pew.
that's it's also challenging, but I'll just tell you. How about some other ones that I enjoy? How about that?
Okay.
Just because, if I see it, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
So the guys at Odell's, I think, make some really nice beer. I just picked up some of their beer the other day. I saw it. I don't know why. But it hit perfect. And so they make some really lovely beers.
nice.
Of course, Vinny out in. Wow, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name. Everybody's going to make fun of me. But the guys who make Pliny the Elder. Tacey, help me out.
It's
Pliny the Elder. Who makes Pliny the Elder?
it's Russian
Yeah,
River.
I'm a
Yeah,
dumbass, and that's even
Wine
funnier
country.
because that was actually a big part of why I got into beer was when I had their sours. So the fact I couldn't remember Russian River's name is really, really awful. But Russian River just really makes some impressive things. Not
I think
just
they've
their
been
sour,
brought up a couple times.
not
on
just
the
their sour
podcast.
program.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
I mean,
Pliny is
Vinny has
amazing.
been a giant supporter of just craft beer in general, as well as sharing his knowledge. Never with me because I haven't asked. It's not like he said no. I think that they're really a fantastic brewery. If you haven't checked them out on both the clean and sour side of life, really should check that out. Just from harkening back to my days in Nashville, like the Yazoo guys, I haven't had their beer in a while, but between what they're doing on the clean side and what Brandon Jones is doing with his funky stuff, really, really interesting to watch.
You ever
and
gonna do any
see.
funky? You ever gonna build a little shack out here and do some funky
That's the
stuff?
problem. You would need an independent facility to do it. I just don't feel
You got
comfortable
plenty of space.
to do it. But I also don't have time. Beautiful things like
I
that.
love those
take
kinds of
time.
beers. They don't
So
sell as great, so I get it.
They have a particular marketing aspect. But
Yeah.
those are some, I think, the 3 ones that actually impacted me in a really great way, and that I'll always look at. Between both just quality of product. And everything else, so it's always cool to throw them mentions just because I think they all make really cool stuff.
Those are the
there are
breweries
others, but
inspire
those
you?
are 3s that certainly I would always look at, and when I see it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have that.
Yeah.
Like there's a beer called the beer named Sue that Linus did a long time ago with Yazoo. I hope he still does it. I haven't been to Nashville in a while. But just, I still remember the first time I had it, and it was a really fantastic beer. It's I believe, a smoked porter. It's a really interesting beer, and I really enjoy it.
I would try that beer.
Yeah.
I would like to drink one should I have it, but very very cool beers there, and there's tons of others. Not trying to cash in on anybody else, but just 3 that I can tell you. Certainly recently I've both seen, and again as awful as it was, I couldn't remember the name. Russian River having a lot of influence. No, not in the sour front, but just what beer could be, what you can do with it. The culture, things like that. Really really cool. Lots of different reasons to enjoy these beers, and that's where you have to go experiment and experience with these different brands. What kind of culture is it when you walk in? What kind of beer are they brewing? What are they pushing? What are they good at? What are they not good at? You hope that mostly that the solid beer makers probably are going to make really nice lots of things. But I think culture carries so much about it around the brand, in the tap rooms with their people, and that to me that can almost, and you can enjoy that almost more than you can enjoy just the beer, as long as you're having a great time and it's put forth in the right way. That helps so much in the overall experience because it is communal. It is
Love the beer
very big
community.
piece of community, and if for some reason it's off, I feel like even if the beer's really nice, you're still not going to enjoy it all that much. Because the feeling's not right. It's a nice beer, but those guys are making a nice beer. Those guys are making a nice beer. Those guys are making a nice beer.
What stands
attach
out?
it to a story and a brand, and
Well, that's part of what our job is in this industry, is to give you an experience.
100%.
Drink the beer, give you the
Love that.
experience, give you the story, and so that's why it's hard to say this brewery's good or bad. Like, I don't know. Like, is it? Like, here's some cool things that breweries have done. Here's some cool things that have influenced me.
here's a random question that I'm sorry. I know we're trying to end this, but so do you enter your stuff in for any sort of competitions?
Not
of any
really.
kind?
I should do better about that. My marketing guys really want us to do that. But when you
I think you would do well.
We've submitted to GABF once, and we got some, mostly I got comments that were wrong style. I submitted to the wrong style. And so
We've heard some-
GABF stylistic guidelines are large, much wider. I really enjoy BJCP's, the Beer Judge Certificate Program's stylistic guidelines. That's what I like to look at. Has historical value, has some basis in those things, and so that's kind of how I think about it. But when you're going to submit to BJCP or to GABF, you really got to look at their stylistic guidelines, because you may have brewed. I mean, the most notorious one is at St. Arnold's. Their Oktoberfest wins gold in the Scottish Ale category. So kind of an interesting thing, because Oktoberfest, you think Marsden, and while they share some attributes, it won gold, but it still won gold. It still tells you that it's a really nice beer. But you have to submit it to win in the right category where it's going to meet those things. So when you submit to competition, it's a completely different animal. Like, oh, I make a great beer. That's not submitting to competition. Submitting to competition is looking at the guidelines and saying, okay, which category does this beer fit in best? Will it meet those things to the best of its ability, or did I make a really nice beer, but it's really not going to show the best of any of these categories? So you could have a beautiful beer, but it's never going to win a competition potentially because it doesn't hit all those notes as good as the other beer does.
Right.
So oftentimes when brewing for competition, people will go out there and brew a beer to hit all those high notes to win the category.
So you kind of have to play their game a little bit.
If you really want to win in competition, that's what you're going to do. And it's been shown. I can't remember. There's a story. I don't know the dude's name, but I know this is true. A very prolific homebrewer went out and just crushed homebrew competitions because he's a very talented homebrewer, would go out there, look at these guidelines, brew directly to style, and just take the field, which is amazing. But it frustrated people because nobody else was winning because this guy was so good. And so I think he stopped or people quit accepting his submissions because they needed to try to give other people awards to continue to the homebrewing activities. and which is hilarious. But it's true. There's a skill in looking at those guidelines, saying I'm going brew it to this style. I'm going to go submit it and do it well, right? So having the ability to go out there and brew such vast majority of different styles of beer is really impressive.
That's cool.
And then
shit
to
right
also
here. What's happening? That's awesome.
and so yeah,
buying a six-pack.
and so
He came to drop off a package, and he's buying a
but
six-pack.
so you know, just all
awesome.
these different things. It's really interesting when you go to competitions, but you have to do it well. Now, is that to say that you just don't take your beer off the line, send it in, and you pick the right category, and you're just going to go blow it out? No, I'm sure
Well,
it
Shane
happens.
from New Magnolia
But-
talked about whether these judges should be even judging these beers. Like, what
Yeah,
makes them
there was
qualified?
he definitely threw out some opinions about the judges not being up to snuff. Like are they not they don't have any certification for any sort of no Cicerone?
You're supposed to. You're supposed. I mean, Cicerone, high level Cicerone stuff is pretty good. BJCP, I know a lot of the judges are BJCP certified, or used to
Yes.
be at least, and that's a really high level certification. Getting that test is very difficult. Getting your certification in that. And so generally, I thought that was kind of the default to become a judge, was you had to be BJCP certified. Maybe I would imagine they probably
it's
are
more
reaching out.
lenient now?
Well, they have so many submissions. I would imagine maybe they have gone into Cicerone and stuff. But I know you shouldn't. I doubt you're walking in there just as a dude going like, "I'd like to drink a lot of beer today." I'll tell you if I like them.
Yeah.
I'll be your Cicerone.
But I mean, I haven't sat there on the panels to know who they're choosing. I do know though, just because like say some of the dudes from BSI Brewer Science Institute, who they're a big yeast lab. They have a lot of guys who are well qualified. I think BJCP certified. They do a lot. They help with a lot of the judging because they're there in Colorado. So every year I think they all go and help. And so, to my knowledge, a lot of the dudes who I've talked to who are judges are BJCP certified. Is that to say all of them are? No, because I don't know who the hell all the guys are. I just know the ones I've talked to who have referenced helping with judging are indeed BJCP certified.
Right on.
So. But is Shane wrong? I can't tell you it is because I don't have a clue. I just know that there at least are a good representation of people who are well qualified to do that judging. Again, I think one of the hardest challenges is think about the number of beers they're asking those guys to put on their palate on a daily basis. And by the time you get to the end of the day, it's really, really hard because you don't have enough judges to spread them out. And you're trying to judge all these products in a short period of time. So it's a pretty mammoth undertaking. And so is everything perfect? No, probably not. Are they doing about as good as they can? Probably.
He was saying they used to judge it based on like the actual science of everything. They broke everything down based on the liquid, not because of someone's opinion. That's what he was explaining.
Well, everybody's got a different palate. So, again, there's always going to be some variation. So here's all of the flavor aspects I theoretically have been trained to identify. Here are the ones that should and shouldn't show up in this product. But if you're a smoker doing those things, you're supposed to be able to identify them, but how are they perceived to you? Versus a non-smoker. So what if they present slightly different, and then you have that's a piece of the judging. Most of the judging things you get back will have multiple units to it, right? And there is actually, I think, a category for just best in show. Like, didn't hit this category, but I think it's really great. Go submit it to best in show. Just a really great beer.
Yeah.
And so will that go up against those? So, I think there's a lot of elements around there, but how much weight do you going to put on that? Do you need that medal? Like, I don't know. Like, I focus on trying to make some great beers, and what makes me happy is that there are people buy it because then I keep my business going, keep paying my employees, all of those things. To me, that's way better than a medal from GABF. No
There you
offense.
go.
So that's how. But from our marketing standpoint, that's an awful medal because that you can't just like put that out there. But being around for 10 years, that's like
We gave ourselves a medal.
And so, but practically that is kind of how I feel. People can say, "Oh, it's just because you haven't won a medal." I don't know. Like I have a lot of things on my plate at any given time. When I get that interested in winning a medal, I'll let you know.
I think a lot of people find this interesting though, because I'm sure a lot of people wonder why you haven't done it, and it's like there's the answer.
I feel like you would do pretty well. I really do.
Yeah, but I get the answer too.
Well, if I wanted to go win one, I feel confident we could give it a shot. But it's very competitive. There's some really great
We're
brewers out there.
submitting some beers for the first time this year.
Huh?
We're submitting some beers this year. Yeah.
You could submit the same beer 3 years in a row, and it may not win 3 years in a row. You commit, win or not win, not win. You'll have different judges telling you why you could or couldn't win.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this that's a chance because there's just so much variability in taste.
Right.
Yeah.
When somebody tells me like, "Oh, I hate that beer." "Oh, I like that beer." I might be polarly very different, but guess what? That's my palate. It's your palate. You like
I've
it,
always
drink
thought it was weird
It's
when
alcohol.
people-
If it's hard, stop doing it. It's meant to be fun.
Right.
So if you like this, drink that. If you don't like this, don't drink that.
I always thought it was weird
terrible.
when people get on Tapped and be like, "I hate sours," and then they rate a sour. Yeah, and I'm like, that's.
I mean, but there's a lot of different elements to Untapped. They want the badge. They want to have more check-ins. They want to categorize the fact that they did try it. So I mean, it's not just. I mean, as a brewer, it kind of sucks. You're like, well, if you hated it, like, what were you going to really do? But from an Untapped perspective, there's a lot of different elements than just what the brewery thinks. There's also what the consumer thinks. The consumer has a lot of different incentives to check that beer in. Again, like the fact I tried it, so they can categorize it. The fact that might get them the sour day badge is number
they
one.
get their badges.
So I mean, there's a lot of elements to it that they've turned into. They gamified it drinking.
Made it
to a
like
degree.
Pokemon.
Yeah, so you got to collect them all. But so I mean, Flying Saucer does a great job with that. The plate thing. Having 200 beers get you your
That's
plate.
a lot of fun. It's always been fun.
So I mean, they kind of gamified it as well. And people get excited about that.
Well, because you go there, you can literally read all the names on the plates and everything. And I remember like there was a guy, I saw this guy's name, J. Michael Fellers. I remember it because I read it a lot whenever I would go there, and he had 14 plates at the time. This is
Dang.
I'm dating myself, but this is back in my early 20s, and me and my buddies would go there. I'm like, who the fuck is J. Michael Fellers? And they were like, oh yeah, he literally he drank himself into a seizure one day.
Oh wow!
And then he had to stop coming, and I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough.
You can only put 3 a day, so I mean, after that, it's all gratis.
Yeah, it's like, geez, 14 plates, that's awesome, but good lord.
Before we shut this down, because we've been going a while now, I wanted to ask if you had anything you wanted to bring up, any events or anything. Beer releases?
Oktoberfest on the 4th is one of the big ones. Right now, Kingsborough's out in market, so go get it while we have it. It's
30
it's going
pieces
really
out
quickly.
too, right?
We did a little bit of 30 pieces. That one's not as wide-reaching, but if you're looking for a West Coast double, I think it's a really great representation of it. We do Bronx Stomper typically during the rodeo season. 30 pieces we don't get to do all the time just because of different rotations we're doing, but we really needed some more doubles here at the tap room, so we were able to put some of that, which is really cool. But yeah, Kingsborough, definitely get on top of that as much as you can because it's going fast. It's delicious beer. It's definitely right in our wheelhouse. And of course, October 4th with our Oktoberfest. And then in September, I don't remember the exact date, but look for our bigger concerts are coming back. So, we do one a month. We'll do in September, October, November.
Some of the bands we mentioned earlier.
We're starting with Escape with the Journey Tribute. So that's really rad.
Very cool.
So
Every first Thursday of the month, I'm DJ C Note.
Yeah.
And I host it here. Every first Thursday of the month, I'm here at Back Pew hosting the best music bingo in all of Houston.
Yeah, people love it. It's a lot of fun.
It's been
I've been
great.
to one. It was great
turnouts.
Here.
A lot of people, a lot of regulars that kind of come for it. It's awesome.
Yeah. So come see it. If you haven't done it, come do it.
Yes, come see it. You can win prizes. You guys give away great prizes. You can win glassware, free beer. You can win Sinners, Saints tokens, koozies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's good to know.
Yeah. Sometimes you win high fives. So there's that. That's how we circumvent that a little bit.
Okay. I know I said last question 3 questions ago, but this is the last question, Bobby. The future of Back Pew. Mm-hmm. What's it look like?
I would like to know because I'm good at thinking of the next little while, and that's not a cop-out answer, but it's we're in a tumultuous time. We're not going anywhere, but we just have to stay on top of our game to make sure we continue on, and that's my goal. Part of it is not just surviving, but also thriving. Because, I mean, again, we employ people. We have a lot of different things where people become to rely upon this. We have created, I think, a great community for people who come to the tap room, and we want to keep all of that going. But we also have to make sure that we keep that core ethos, but adapt it to what people are looking for. And that's where reaching into some new product lineups and things like that are going into to make sure that we continue to be accepting of everybody and giving them an outlet to come and hang out and enjoy themselves. That way we can continue to grow that. And so keeping that going amidst so much just other shit that's happening in people's lives and around the world, it's going to be challenging. There's a lot of things that are affecting us that we can't control. And so if we can navigate those, I'd feel pretty stoked.
Well, you know what makes it
we have so far, but
less bad? Drinking a beer.
I mean, generally, that's the cool thing about our industry, and at least historically, has been if times are up, everybody's drinking because they're happy, and times are bad, they're drinking because they're sad.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're kind of somewhat, resistant to any kinds of ups and downs from that perspective.
Right.
But there's certainly a lot of market pressure, especially on our supply side, that's going to be challenging for us coming up. But I think we'll navigate, and we've navigated them so far. COVID was a big experiment, and can you do it? We made it through that, so I can't see us not being able to figure out the next one.
Right. Yeah.
Roger
Heard that.
Well, with that being said, This has been so much fun. We did a little over 2 hours, and hopefully,
been great.
It's been really
Great.
great. Really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And cheers! Yeah,
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers,
Yeah.
guys.
Cheers,
Enjoy.
man. Yeah.
Thanks, man. It's
Great.
great for
Thank
having
you
Let's
me.
do this again
Thanks for
sometime.
being on.
We can. I'm here.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Y'all have a great one. Beer Someone episode 15 here at Back Pew is closed.